This is episode 8 of the Red Leaf Retrocast. Video games is here, and E3 has passed. We are pumped. I'm pumped. All of us are pumped. Right, Kevin?
Yay.
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 Now, okay, your yay does say something in itself immediately.
E3 was
lame. It's the fact that a lot of people do think E3 was lame. I think it was very standard. There's some things definitely get excited about. Conference as a whole, it's up to you, I guess. But I between us here at the Red Leaf Retrocast, we weren't too impressed with everything. That's for sure.
I definitely wasn't
Correct?
impressed. Nothing. We were talking about what we were gonna go over for E3 for this, and every time I had to change my answers because I'm like, nothing was really memorable. And then one of my friends would say something, I'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot that happened, and I liked that game.
Well, it was weird. Everything came down to just trailers in the end, and there weren't really games. I felt like there weren't games showcased because We'll get into how we're going to go over to E3 in a second, but our agenda for the podcast is we got some. We're going to go over some introductions here. Nice little E3 impressions from around the internet, and I'll say what that actually means when we get there. We got our own personal hype over E3, and then we go over into our main theme, which is missed mascots from the 18 to 16-bit era, and we picked 9 games, 3 each, and hopefully Josh ends up showing up because he's gone. He's gone like a ghost. He's gone. He's sleepy. I don't know. We've all been working quite a bit lately, so
too much.
Playing 9 games, we thought it'd be a little bit special for especially a theme like this. And then to top it all off, we're gonna have a debate over trying to convince 2 out of the 3 characters are gonna become mascots for a system, and if they have to replace somebody, that's part of the debate. So a nice little short thing we're gonna try to do. See how difficult it is for over the 3 games we picked. Now then. What games have you been playing outside the podcast, Kevin?
Well, considering I have the world's most limited schedule right now, and I think I've said it before, I get to work early on purpose to play something in my 3DS or Vita before work. So I've been playing a lot of Tales of Hearts R. I played Symphonia, and I'm still editing all 50 of those videos from a channel. But I love the series so much, I was like, I'm getting every Tales game. So I saw Tales of Hearts R on sale.
That's not a... I mean, Symphonia is the best Tales game.
Oh, I know.
At least that's what I say. They're not all even average.
Yeah, I like them. So far, I've played 2, and they haven't let me down yet. The only thing I hate about this one is that all the voice acting is in Japanese. I know some people are all about that, but it just makes me not want to listen. So I'll just read the text quick. I'm like, yeah, shut up. I don't want to hear your moon language. But it's a good game. The combat's great. I do have to use a guide because some of the puzzles are a little weird. And the little other free time I get, I've been playing a lot of Darksiders 2. And I spent this whole morning trying to kill 1 mini-boss. And I still have to. Because I think I'm just bad at games.
I don't think you are ready for the game Nioh or Nioh.
No, I hate Dark Souls kind of games. Nope, I'm not playing that.
Oh, this one makes Dark Souls look easy.
It's like that. Is it like another setup of I don't know, you're in the world. Where do I go? Figure it out, kid. I don't like that. That's
no, it's not as open.
Okay. As
Dark Souls. It's just more linear, and the enemies will kick the shit out of you so much easier.
That's fine then, because I hate how Dark Souls is just I don't know, go somewhere. What do I care?
Yeah, the thing about Nioh is there's a lot to explore in Area X. Then if you take a linear path, you'll get to the end, but you don't have to. So it's a good way of introducing you to the areas and what has kind of gone down there.
I mean, I got no problem with hard games. It's just I hated the setup of Dark Souls. Demon Souls is way better. I said it.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's. A lot of people would agree with you, actually.
Because they're right.
Well, I just recently... I have a friend in town. He's actually on the couch next to me. He's playing Horizon Zero Dawn. He's having a great time.
He's a smart person.
Say hi, John.
Hello.
He says hi.
How do you feel about the best game to ever come out this year?
Oh, he loves it. I wake up today and he just looks at me. This game's awesome.
It is awesome. That expansion's coming out soon, buddy.
I am actually pretty excited for it. I won't count it as an actual game to get hyped up for, but I'm pretty pumped for the E3 reveal of Horizon Frozen Wilds. Nice little DLC story. It's actually, I'm never into DLC stories. This one I'm actually very much into.
This might be a DLC I actually buy for once as well. Even Uncharted DLCs I've never bought, and I love Uncharted. So, first time for everything.
But since he's coming in town, he asked me, "Do you have any more VR games?" I go, "Well, there's a couple I've been wanting to buy." He goes, "Well, can we go get them?"
Buy them for me. Be a good host. Buy me video games.
Well, I ended up buying Farpoint, and I finally cracked and bought Resident Evil 7.
How is Farpoint?
So, Farpoint, for those who don't know, is a first-person shooter PlayStation VR game, and it takes place on an alien planet. And it does something very interesting. It restricts your controls. So at first it seems like all you're able to do is strafe left and right and go up. And you have one gun and weapon, and you go through the game like that. And as you progress through the game, it's almost like the game is acclimating you, the player, to virtual reality. Because then slowly you're less restricted on the controls. You can eventually do full turning and get more complicated weapons. I mean, there was nothing more cool than holding up even the PlayStation 4 controller like a gun and looking down the scope in the game. It was really cool. And little tidbit here, we did record it all, and in video 1 there's alien spiders and they fly at my face and I kind of freak out.
I don't even know what an alien spider would consist of.
Think of a giant mutated spider.
Absolutely not.
And then it gets on its hind legs and leaps at your face in virtual reality. Tons of fun.
So I'll pass.
I really enjoyed the game. To be honest, there's not a lot to it exactly. The story is very much okay. The world, if you're just watching the game, you're not actually playing it. It looks very bare bones, first person shooter, bland. But when you're actually playing it, it is so fun.
Have you played? Because you're the big VR guy. Have you played Super Hot yet? I think that's out for PSVR, right?
I know it was announced. I don't know if it's out yet.
I was waiting, because that's like the one game I didn't think it was going to be VR. I don't know if it's only or if it's enhanced or whatever, but
I mean, it's gonna be cool. Basically, every game I have in VR is cool in some way, and it's tons of fun to play. I just wish some games were longer, and Farpoint took us about 5-6 hours to play, so that's a full game. It was very good.
We're just still in this gimmick phase of VR, like whatever.
I think we're actually pulling out of it right now.
I'm going to say whenever the next generation of VR is, whatever that is, I think that's when we're actually going to see, like, full games happen. I'm still feeling like a lot of tech demos are happening.
At first it was just like any other peripheral type controller in game. Mm-hmm. But with a release like Farpoint, Resident Evil 7 this year that have come out, it's really like its own console. I mean, think how many games have come out for the Switch that you actually want? 3, 4?
0.
That's pretty much well.
Alright, there's one, Bomberman, but I ain't paying what it goes for.
Oh, Josh is awake. Well, let's finish, let me just continue talking here for a second, and then we'll join him on.
Hey.
But I quite enjoyed Farpoint. The other game we got, and I've been scared to death to play it, was Resident Evil 7 in virtual reality.
Don't you have it normal? I thought you talked about it before.
I've played it at a friend's house before, but not in virtual reality. I finally, because I'm a wimp when it comes to scary games, but I love them, so it's the double-edged sword there.
I demand videos of this.
They're recorded, and I even have another friend there, and we all take turns. And just even the beginning of the game, I'm like, "Is my time up yet? I don't want to play anymore. This is really uncomfortable."
When can I be expected to see these?
At the very least, at the very latest, Halloween.
So far.
The way I've been putting them out is one VR video a week.
Okay. All right. I can.
So
wait.
it's gonna be a summer of Farpoint, and then right after that's gonna jump into
Summer
Resident Evil 7. The game's being heavily advertised, and I know I can totally see why. I enjoyed it immensely.
I'm still
but Resident Evil 7... Yeah, Resident Evil 7, good God. It's creepy. The whole time. You're just unexpectedly thinking something's gonna pop out around a corner the whole time. My favorite thing to do was there was a stealth mission at the very beginning of the game, and I'm actually moving the VR itself to peek around corners.
Oh, that's oddly... That's what I'm looking for. Oddly immersive sounding.
It's incredibly immersive. I can't speak any more highly of it. If I was to pick my 3 favorite games of the year right now, this second, it would number one's definitely Horizon Zero Dawn to me. Resident Evil 7 VR specifically is number 2, and then it'd be Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I still need to play that too. So many things I have to play.
It's a lot.
Soon.
But you've been saying daily life's been getting in the way of a lot of things. You did just tell me you got this wild, like 3DS like Android emulator thing.
Oh yeah, it's called a GPD, and I think you can get them they're on Amazon, they're on AliExpress, they're on a bunch of different sites. But it's as big as a 3DS, like the new 3DS XL, and it's a full Android tablet. But on the bottom is like 2 analog sticks, 4 face buttons, a D-pad, and it has 4 back triggers, so you can emulate pretty much anything up to like PS1 and 64 era without issues. But the thing I do find cool about it is I hate mobile games because of the fact that you have no buttons. So there's a remap button on this thing, and you hit that and you touch somewhere on the screen, and then it'll be like, oh, what button do you want that to be? So like, say I'm playing like, I don't know, some terrible first-person shooter on a phone. If I touch the fire button and then or I hit remap, touch the fire button, and then I'll go, what button do you want that like finger placement to be? And I can assign it to a trigger if I want. So that sounds cool. Okay. To me. So I can actually make like mobile games like playable.
Right.
So
no, I mean, I was known to do the same thing with. I have a PSP I cracked, and it runs Super Nintendo Genesis games all the same. If you try before I got my Vita and the 3DS, that was my only way to really play games with the PSP, and I travel a lot. Even when I was in high school, it was a lot of traveling.
I was debating on getting or hacking a PSP, but I don't know, something about it just felt unpure, if that makes sense. So I wanted like my own dedicated, like, this is my little emulation machine.
Well, that's kind of what I treated this cracked one as, because the UMD drive in the back got broken. So that was all it was used for. And then I got, $50, another one, and that one works fine.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
I would do it with a PSP Go. I like that form factor.
I don't have one. I wonder how hard it would be to crack. But anyways, what's your favorite system you've liked playing on this Android thing that you got?
Oh, I'm still waiting for it to come in, actually. I ordered expedited shipping.
Oh, okay. And, okay. Which one are you looking forward to playing? Like Neo Geo games?
No, Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I love 16-bit graphics. And I want to try it in 64 to see if it runs really smooth, because some emulators
I can't imagine it would.
I'm gonna try, and I hope I can play super cool games like wrestling, maybe, I guess. all the wrestling games.
WCW versus NWO Revenge.
That is still, well, it was my favorite wrestling game of all time until I learned about a game-breaking glitch.
Oh, well, that's no fun.
Yeah, if you move the analog stick when you're getting pinned, you'll always kick out.
That's really dumb.
And now that I know that, I can't play it anymore because I'm like, nah, I'll never lose.
Or you could just not do that.
I can't. But now I know. I'm like, I should win this. I deserve this one. It's like when I learned about save states and emulators. I'm like, I'll just go back.
Oh boy. Well, before we get Josh on here, I wanted to give and we learn what he's been up to lately, and then we'll jump into E3. I wanted to give some other podcast shoutouts. So I've been quite enjoying them. You ready for this?
Well, I know a secret of one.
Okay, well, one of them is the Anime Arcade. They're going through some changes, and they're gonna hype up some other new formats for them. So if you like anime, first of all, you should check out Red Leaf Retrocast anime section. Haha, that's a new thing that started. But if you want some water cooler like talk, go to animearcade.net. Anime Arcade's on iTunes and the like, so go check them out. And then if you want crazy, wild video game talking points, I don't know how else to describe it, very dysfunctional, it's the PNG Podcast, and you can find that on Dace Space and iTunes. He's a guy that's here in Toronto. He gets a lot of YouTubers together and just basically rambles about whatever the big video game topic is that week or over the course of 2 weeks. And then a friend of mine just started his own. He's Australian. And it's called the Ultimate Awesomeness Podcast. And that's by Benji James, YouTube channel Benji James. He's going to start putting those out. Kind of the same thing, but I kind of like his topics. They bring up an international kind of flavor to it. So if you want to, I don't know if it's going to be on iTunes. I can only assume it will be. But at the very least, it's on his YouTube channel, Benji James. Go check that out as well. And we are going to take a quick break now to get Josh on here and then jump right into E3. Alrighty?
Aye.
Welcome back to the Red Leaf Retrocast, Episode 8. We have found a Freund. He has joined us. It is Josh, but first...
Yeah.
We must talk about David's tea and how delicious it is, and it's summer. Go buy some. Okay, now that that's over.
Wow. They paid for that spot.
Hey, man, they put a lot of good money into that. That's prime advertising.
Josh, what games have you been playing outside the podcast?
I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy, to be honest. I've just recently beat 1 and 2, so
right.
I'm working...
Now you're on the shittiest one.
Hey, okay, just because it was hard when we played it for our show, okay, doesn't mean that it's the shittiest one, okay?
It was
just
pretty shitty.
No, it wasn't.
It's pretty bad, man.
No, you guys haven't even played 5, the actual 5, which would have been our 2, but I don't want to get into that because that just gets too confusing.
No, 4 was our 2, you silly.
No, well, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense anyway. It doesn't matter.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I don't want to talk about Final Fantasy 3. How about that?
Damn.
That's fine. But I've been playing that. I've recently hooked up my PlayStation 1. I've been playing Metal Gear again. And now every time I play Metal Gear, I always think back to the time when you're like, Josh, you beat the shit out of that game, man. Like, you did really well. And I was like, yes, JD. Yes, I did.
True facts. Should happen.
Yeah.
I like that Josh is very humble.
Hey, you know what?
Well, I mean,
it's
I actually threw a party last night and hooked up the old PlayStation, and we had a bunch of people playing Twisted Metal.
Damn, nice.
Yeah, that was right after the soccer game, all drunk and having fun.
Man,
while one person played VR.
Oh my god, VR drunk? Are you crazy?
Yeah, it was kind of difficult.
RE7 drunk. That's the move.
Damn.
Well, okay. Now that that's over, sorry, we gotta keep going here. We're going right into the E3 impressions from the internet section. Josh, I hope you have the agenda in front of you. If not, it's okay. I do.
I do too.
So what I did was I went on PNG's Discord channel, asked a bunch of people over on his what their most hyped games were, like a top 5. I went on a couple other Discord channels. I put it out on Twitter. I went on a Reddit forum, asked, and I tallied it all up and came up with these 5 games that people were most hyped for. Now, it's not, of course, definitive worldwide or internet. It is just where I pulled everything from. So it is actual data and actual people that came back. And this is what they were. I'll start from number 5, and it was Evil Within 2, which I was actually very surprised about.
Yeah, me too. Considering the first one was just okay.
A lot of people liked it because of the grittiness of the horror type environment and the fact that you could actually finally die in a horror game. Number 4, again, I mean, it didn't surprise me, but yet did, because it wasn't actually anything that showed up. It was Metroid Prime 4. It was just
number 4.
The number
Metroid
4.
Prime 4.
Yeah, it was a title card. That doesn't really count.
Well, all the Nintendo has to do is be like, here it is, and everyone's going to be like, oh my god!
Yeah, Game of the Year.
Done.
Yeah, and it was kind of... The other thing I was shocked about is like, okay, if Metroid Prime 4 is getting all hype, where's the Pokemon game? But
No. Oh my god, don't even... Oh my god, that pissed me off.
So that was something. Number 3 was actually Wolfenstein 2. Not too surprised, actually. It was presented very well. It had a crazy trailer. It was Bethesda's big thing this year.
Nah, but then again, it's just going to be Bethesda, so it's just going to be another flop. Actually, Wolfenstein's okay, so I'll take that back.
Don't talk shit about Doom and Wolfenstein from Bethesda. Hold up.
No, but, well, that's why I said I'll take it back just because it's Wolfenstein. Otherwise,
I liked it.
Yeah. Number 2, no surprise it even made like a top 5 list, was Mario Odyssey.
I'm calling it right now, that hat's evil.
Well, I mean, it did come from Bowser.
I hope you're right. That would be so cool.
I don't trust the black eyeliner around the hat. I feel like that's going to turn into, like, evil angry eyes. I'm telling you, if I'm right, I want a free Subway sandwich.
Oh, man. Yeah, the game looks incredible. Nintendo did a very good job with the trailer, and then if you had a chance to watch the Treehouse Live, they had a great demo over it and all the different ways you can go around the world and the different worlds. I don't know what everyone's getting all upset about, like Mario going into Mexico and now he's wearing a sombrero. I mean, come on. It's a freaking child's game.
And you can play it this winter exclusively at Pottery Barn.
I mean, let's be realistic here. It's an Italian who jumps like a black man who's a plumber. I don't. What are we really appropriating here?
That New Donk City is the best name for any city ever.
New Donk City. Yeah, there's a lot of Donkey. How cool! This is what I'm hoping is because they got this new Pimp Bowser thing going on. If Donkey Kong turned out to be the final enemy, like he was the boss.
I don't know if he'll be the final boss, but he'll definitely make a cameo.
I think he needs to be the boss in the game. Like, bring back that Mario Donkey Kong rivalry.
Pauline is the mayor, isn't she?
I think so. Yeah.
Lit.
Oh, I'm gonna stab you, Kevin.
Do it.
Yo, it's lit.
Oh, I hate you guys.
Do it from Canada. I dare you.
That'd be one hell of a knife throw. I would give you one of the Olympic rings if you did that.
Oh no! Oh no!
We'll get to Olympic stuff.
Is he gonna?
Okay, so universally number 1 was Anthem, the big EA game.
You mean Destiny?
Destiny with super suits.
Really.
I honestly, I thought that looked generic as shit.
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, and it's fine.
The only real cool thing that I thought about it was the whole thing where you can, like, fly around with your super exoskeleton suit, and that was about it. Otherwise, I was like, you know what, I'll just fucking play Destiny 2 if I really wanted to.
So, here's my opinion on the game, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on it as well. The type of game it is in high demand, and people went apeshit over it, even more so than Mario Odyssey, at least from where I was looking.
We also have to keep in mind that Mario Odyssey was aimed at people who have the Switch, so...
Yeah, and it's pretty hard to find, while everyone else has an Xbox or a PlayStation or a PC at the very least. So, going into best presented game, because I mentioned before that E3 was basically a lot of trailers. If you wanted to see a presentation, you had to watch more of the company as they would present other games. I watched a little bit, so this led to not really a clear winner. And what I actually got was Mario's Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Origins. Which, by the way, is one of the worst titles ever. I'm sick of titles like that.
Assassin's Creed was played out already, so it's all good.
What about, like, Retribution? Would that have been better?
I think Assassin's Creed Land of the Pharaohs or Assassin's Creed...
Just Pharaohs would have been fine. Like...
Assassin's Creed Pharaohs, Assassin's Creed, I don't know, Pyramid Walkers, anything.
Sand.
Give me some sort of imagination in making a title.
Assassin's Creed Sand.
Or, shit, it could have been Assassin's Creed The Sands of Times.
No, don't make me... I miss Prince of Persia. Oh, wow.
Yeah, let's not go back there.
I miss it so much.
Did someone say HD remake?
They did that, actually.
Yeah, they did.
Nerd.
Yeah.
You got me on that one, James.
Actually, not that
Kevin.
this diverges a little bit, but I'm a little annoyed at the whole Shadow of Colossus thing that everyone's hyped about, because they literally just did an HD remake, and now they're doing like another one.
Well, that was just an HD remaster. This one's actually like a graphic overhaul.
Still, I mean,
It's
Same thing
Shadow
as
of
7. It's the same thing as Final Fantasy 7. They're just remaking the game so it gets the graphics that it should have, considering
Yeah,
it's
but
still a really iconic game.
They're gonna make it episodic?
Not, I don't think. Hey man, who knows? Nowadays, we don't get a full game anymore.
That's true.
I mean, the difference between 7 and this is PS2 and PS1 graphics are vastly different.
This is true.
Yeah. So, the best conference I got it was a little all over the place, but it was generally a consensus between Ubisoft as number 1, surprisingly, and then a tie between Nintendo and Bethesda at number 2. Now, grade-wise, from, say, GameSpot and IGN, I'll say Nintendo was number 1 and Ubisoft was number 2.
Yeah, man, Nintendo definitely won hands down this year.
So, you're saying Nintendo won hands down. Why?
Absolutely. They seem to be like more exciting when it comes towards their games. They have all original content coming out, man. And I don't want to say I'm a little biased, but I freaking hate Ubisoft, and Bethesda does not interest me at all. But either way, like, Nintendo's coming out with Mario Odyssey, it's coming out with Metroid Prime, Mario and Rabbids. It's just a Pokemon Tekken, or not Tekken, basically Tekken, with Pokemon. They're coming out with that, with some new Pokemon to fight with. They have their not new Pokemon games, but their remastered Pokemon games. Didn't they do a Fire Emblem one?
They're coming out with Dynasty Warriors with Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah, with Dynasty or Fire Emblem Warriors.
I'm cool with that. It might make me get a Switch.
I mean, I'm not denying Nintendo got me hyped. I mean, they showed a new Kirby game, a new Yoshi game.
Yes, and Kirby, that's what it was. I can't believe I forgot it.
And for now, they're just calling them Yoshi and Kirby. So they're going to have a much better title. You know, imagination with titles. Who would have known?
Revelations.
What I'm very worried about, if we're just going to stick with Nintendo to just kind of go along with it, is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has me extremely worried.
Why?
So, the problem with a lot of these anime-type games that are coming out is they're very standard. The fighting's very standard. The characters are very blank slate and tropey. And from what I saw, it looks exactly like what I'm worried about, and that's not what I want in my Xenoblade games. I don't want that in any RPG, because we saw that issue with the new Tales of Zestiria and Berseria games.
Oh, I like
where it's just very bare bones, very bland. You'll play it for maybe in my case at max 6 hours, and you go, I just don't care. I don't care about the story. Sure, the world's interesting, but it feels very empty. There's just not enough.
See, this is where we differ, where I'm all like, yeah, Tails looks lit. I said it. No, Berseria is like, I looked at that, I'm like, this looks actually like pretty unique. I like this story. Whereas like, I'm more worried about Mario Odyssey.
Just to touch on the Tales thing, the Tales games, like Zestiria and Berseria, were based on two different ideals on the story. Not like the characters in the battle system are okay, but they're all kind of the same, considering they've all been done already. But the big thing about Tales games has always been like the morale behind the game.
Sure, I'm not denying that, but I can't get past how bland the franchise has become, and it looks like that's where Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is heading, and I'm very worried about it.
No, you're absolutely right. I've tried myself to beat Tales of Zestiria twice, and I get to the same part, and it's like, okay, let's put this down for, like, I don't know, Final Fantasy 15, which was also a disappointment.
But,
That's
Josh,
debatable.
VR fishing.
That is debatable as hell.
Don't get me wrong, Kevin. Final Fantasy 15 was lit. But like after chapter 6 or 7, I was just like, okay, this game is being rushed. Like this, obviously, you know.
I heard it's a shorter Final Fantasy too.
It was a piss off. That's what it was.
Fair.
Sorry. I'm very passionate about it. Apparently,
I can tell. You look very upset.
So, Kevin, what did you think had the best conference?
Initially I said it was Microsoft because that while I'm very against these mid-cycle console thing that we're doing, when I heard about the Scorpio, I was like, all right, that's cool, teraflops, whatever. The second they said full backwards compatibility, I was like, all right, maybe you got me with something. And then the more I thought about it, like, it was more like that honeymoon phase of like, oh, that sounds really cool. And I was like, oh, they're gonna do it the way they do in the 360, where it's like, we're gonna put some titles up, and then like if you have a disc, it works or not. So like the more I thought about it, I was like,
if you have a disc, it works, but not.
Yeah. So like it was originally Microsoft, like Ubisoft. They kind of won it for me, especially with the whole Mario and Rabbids game. Like that kind of seemed like the most unique thing to come out of like all of E3.
Mario XCOM looks really funny.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like between Ubisoft and like Sony was like, "Hey, here's things we showed you last year coming out next year."
All right. Back up. We'll get more into Sony and Xbox in a second here.
Yeah.
So, are you saying Ubisoft is number one?
I guess it's like being the like stupidest kid in the class, but the smartest one at the same time. You know.
You can go sit in the corner with your damn hat then.
Okay.
Yeah, smartest kid in the stupid class. That's what I meant to say.
All right. So, I was really impressed with Ubisoft this year. Now, I'm not going to deny I do have a soft spot for Ubisoft games. I do like a lot of their franchises. I've at least played almost every single one of them, such as Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed, and we all can't deny that Assassin's Creed got us at one point or another. Whether or not you stopped at 3 doesn't mean that the franchise still isn't very popular.
Right.
So there's always something that they're coming out with, and I took some notes over the conferences. And Josh, you mentioned Nintendo coming out with a lot of their own IPs. I mean, shit. Ubisoft's got the Mario Rabbids. South Park's coming out later. They got some PlayStation VR games that are coming out. They got this wild new Toys to Life fighter game in which it clips onto your controller. Am I gonna get it? No, but if I was 6 years old, I'd be going, Mom, I fucking need this.
Jeez.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not. It's just...
Yeah. People are going crazy over Far Cry 5. I mean, crazy Montana cult people.
I like that. That's like the crazy people at the pipeline. I'm all into that.
That's not really just crazy Montana people. That's just people from Montana. Am I right, boys?
Am I right?
Oh, you're a funny guy. I'm even a little bit excited over the game Steep. Having the Olympic DLC where it creates essentially another game on top of that game. The Crew 2, I'm not too into the I don't know what was with E3 this year in driving games.
Cars,
all over the place. I mean, we just had a podcast episode saying it's dead, and we came up with good reasons why. So what makes these game companies think they're going to sell?
Because cars get to show off the graphical capabilities of a system, which is why like Microsoft is all like, Forza, look at all the gravel, but in reality, you're kind of just sitting behind a wheel and it's like all passing by. So it sounds really cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ubisoft presented, and they didn't just show trailers, they showed gameplay. And to me, that was a big bonus. Because it's showing you what the game is going to be, not just cutscenes. And that's where I felt a lot of studios failed in. Bethesda only really showed Wolfenstein 2 as having gameplay. Everything else was just trailered.
Everything was CG trailers. There was very little gameplay overall.
Yeah, so that's why I think Ubisoft just knocked it out of the park. They showed us everything we wanted to do. Now, the next couple of years, yeah, their conference is probably going to be very dull. It's going to be touching more on this, and there's not going to be anything new. But their big announcement was Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I'm personally like losing my mind over.
I kind of want that, but like they've been working on that so long, it's like, is it ever going to happen? Probably not.
Yeah, kind of like Kingdom Hearts 3. It's like, oh, well, it's been delayed another 5 years, so.
Yeah. We have to get Sora's hair just stupid enough.
So, I'm pretty excited. But moving on to the big two, I don't think Nintendo could have done anything different because they did very well. They listened to their fans. Go figure.
Finally.
Let's start with Sony. What could they have done differently? Because as we know, they pretty much just threw trailers at us, finishing with Spider-Man.
They could have actually announced a game that was coming this year and that they didn't show us last year. There was nothing new. And I've been called the Sony fanboy, but there was literally nothing. I was like, where was The Last of Us? Could you at least given us an update? No.
Yeah, there were definitely some games missing.
Yeah. They showed
Josh?
Well, to be honest, I didn't watch the Sony press conference. I wasn't really interested. I actually missed...
I mean, you know what they did for the most part, right?
Yeah, just like you guys said, a lot of trailers. I mean, if anything, I was looking really forward to God of War, which is one of the reasons I ended up getting a PS4 in the first place, because they were going to have the new God of War game.
Dumb title, by the way.
It's... shut up, but you know what?
God of War.
And the reason I want to get this game is actually a point I'm going to make later on for one of the games that we had chosen. It's just because it's the mythology, man. It's really cool to see it taken in the perspective of the guy who's just going around killing them all. So
yeah, okay. My biggest thing with Sony is I've been watching them since PlayStation became a thing at E3.
Yeah.
They go through their cycles where here's a bunch of new games that are coming out in the future, and then it's essentially just it just continues that this is what we've updated the games with. Here's more of this until a new console comes out or their new cycle of games comes out. It's Sony's MO. They've become their worst enemy at this point. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was an average conference. I did have a problem with nothing but trailers. Because then, to me, that's like why it did nothing different than Nintendo, and Nintendo gets a lot of flack for having their Nintendo Direct, and it's just essentially trailers or they touch on a single game. To me, that was even better than what Sony did, and Sony didn't really talk about anything of any of the games that are coming out for the second half of this year, which I think really faltered them. Why would you not talk about, at least mention Crash? Or have someone in a Crash suit go, here's our games for Sony.
Crash is coming out at the end of the month, so they're probably like, whatever. Like,
yeah, but even a cameo, just having a dude in a Crash suit coming across.
There was probably one rocking around the conference. We don't really know that.
Well, I'm sure there was, but they couldn't do that for everybody watching at home. I mean, I know it's for investors and it's for industry people, but with technology now, and there's people like you and I now watching year after year, a little pandering, I think, would have gone a long way. And a little more focus on if they're going to show off Spider-Man and God of War, maybe have half the conference dedicated to just those two games. Because they're clearly going to sell.
I would have liked to see, remember the old Crash commercial where like he went outside Nintendo and was like shit-talking them? I would have loved some dude in a Crash suit to go around all of E3 and be like, "What up, I'm back, motherfucker!" Like,
that was some guy in a Crash suit to rush the Nintendo stage.
Yep.
A guy in a Crash suit rushes Xbox during their conference.
Just tackle Miyamoto.
Starts spinning on the stage.
Now, this is one I've wanted. So we're both we all have our little gripe about what Sony did. Now, Xbox, what have they done?
4K, 60p, 4K, 4K.
Teraflops, guys.
That's about it. Well, here's this game, 4K. Here's 4K.
You've seen the joke? I mean, at one point they even had the 911 Forza car up there or whatever it was.
It's better than sports, I guess.
Oh boy,
that's what EA should have done.
But
then again, exactly. So we know what's coming out this year: football, hockey, baseball, basketball, and a few other games.
It was kind of...
EA really dropped the ball. I mean, they're the ones coming out with Anthem. Why the hell did Xbox get that over EA? It baffles me.
Why the hell did Microsoft cancel Scalebound? So many questions, JD. So many questions.
Why didn't Microsoft show me off an exclusive I care about?
You want Microsoft to make an exclusive?
Hey, come on. Halo used to exist.
So, Xbox, I think, failed in a lot of ways. They have this new console. It's called the Xbox One X, but if you acronym it out, it's Xbox again.
Yeah, that's a dumb name.
It's very gimmicky.
So we've gone full.
Very, very, very.
We've gone full
gimmicky.
circle. Their whole thing is that 4K, and
4K.
the price point is ungodly expensive. No
4K.
one, at least in the case of Canada and Australia, no one's gonna buy that thing.
I can't wait till I go to a store and go, "Hi, I'd like a copy of Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the Xbox One," and then the guy behind the counter goes, "Oh, okay, hold on. Old Xbox, new Xbox, which Star Wars Battlefront 2?" And his head just explodes.
I feel like they failed to sell us their new product and really actually somehow convinced everyone to buy an S instead, the slim version.
Yeah, because the S just got cheaper. Like, honestly, unless that thing comes out of the gate with full backwards compatibility, I don't care.
They're already working on it, but that's the problem. The biggest thing that I have with the Xbox One S, or the Xbox One X, sorry, is that, we're going to be able to play all backwards capability. And so I'm sitting here thinking as a consumer, like, it's taking you that long to answer what your fans want? Come on now.
Yeah, it's like they're Nintendo or something.
Come on now. Yeah, exactly. And even still, the Switch doesn't have anything on it other than some unheard of, like, classic arcade games on the Switch store.
Hey, come on, you never heard of no King of Fighters, bro?
Oh boy.
I just want Xbox to either decide, are they gonna do exclusives, or are we gonna go exclusives unless you have a PS4 in like 4 months? Or a computer. Buy our box.
I just want Microsoft to be like, hey, by the way, we got Lion's Head back. We got new Fable coming back again.
Which means Peter Molyneux is gonna hype you up and disappoint you, just like my ex-wife.
Oh, perfect. You know.
Oh, Molyneux.
Xbox needs exclusives, otherwise they're falling hard.
Well, the thing
no, they don't. They just need 4K.
Yeah,
Oh
true.
God.
See, people get mad at me when like everyone's like, "Oh my God, exclusives are so anti-consumer. They just segregate the market." I'm like, okay, but if every box plays every game, what's the point of me buying one versus the other? Like, it
No, I mean,
make sense.
yeah, you're absolutely right. It creates a competitive market. It allows or motivates companies to make a better game, a new IP. It continues the market. If there's, and like you said, if everything was on everything, there's this mindset going around, I just want to play games. That's fine, but there needs to be some sort of segregation between consoles. Otherwise, we'll just all end up with one console, and then the same game will be put out every year, and then you won't have gamers anymore because they'll be bored.
Yeah, so they're kind of related to Sony, is that they're the only ones like blocking this whole cross like system play when it comes to like Rocket League and other stuff. And like that's where I'm torn, because it's like, okay, well, Rocket League's on everything. I know this is one game, but it's like, but like if I can play my buddies on Xbox and the Switch, it's like, why buy one versus the other, you know? Like, Rocket League on Switch isn't going to make me buy it now because I can play with anybody, so like I can't just go get it from my Switch friends. It's little things like that. Like, yeah, they're anti-consumer on a face level, but like, we kind of need a separation to like help, you know, have competition.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I'm like not for it, but I'm not against it either.
So, moving on from the conferences, we all have our little thing about E3, but I'm curious to what everyone's, just 5 games, just kind of run through them. And Kevin, you have one listed here that I want to make a comment in for sure.
Which one?
It's the last one.
Got
so
it.
just run through. Just if you don't mind, name the game, what you're excited about it. Like try to be as simple as possible, and then move on to the next one.
Got it. Spider-Man. I have wanted a good console Spider-Man game since Spider-Man 2 on PS2, and they've all just been meh. I take that back. Shadow Dimensions is awesome. So I like Spider-Man. I like the way he flows, and I hope they kind of make it in the same vein as Spider-Man 2. Monster Hunter. Big, scary monsters. Go kill them for us. It's awesome. I've fallen in love with Monster Hunter and so many Monster Hunter clones over the years, and I'm finally ready for like a console version, because we always get stuck to the 3DS or the one that came out on Wii U. And Metroid Prime 4, I've never played a Metroid Prime, but I'm just happy Nintendo listened, so I'm ready to try the whole series. Mario and the Rabbids game, whatever they're going to call it, Kingdom Battle. I just like tactical games like that, and it literally looks like XCOM on drugs. So
yeah, it looks really goofy. I'm very interested in it.
The Rabbids have become like the Minions, like, of video games. And so, like, it's fine with that as long as, middle-aged parents don't get a hold of them and ruin it. And then Dragon Ball Fighter Z, my only issue with Dragon Ball Z games is that it's literally the same story of, like, oh, Raditz came, gotta fight Raditz, oh, the Saiyans are here. Like, the story is not what's gonna get me, but, like, I like how they're doing a whole Marvel vs. Capcom aspect to it where it's a 3-on-3, and it's made by the guys that make Guilty Gear. And if you've played Zerd, you know it's good.
So, just touching on that really quick, Bandai Namco, the Guilty Gear guys and everything, they're really just taking over the fighting market.
What do you mean?
100%. So, Capcom is putting out just terrible products, really restricting gamers from wanting their product, and then you have people from the Guilty Gear series and Bandai Namco. I mean, you take Tekken 7 as the most recent example, comes out with a full game, full arcade mode, over 50 characters as far as I know, and now they're making a Dragon Ball Z game, fighting, like an actual 2D fighting game.
Yep.
I mean, what more could those gamers ask for? And then on the other side, you have it was a Marvel vs. Capcom game coming out, and it looks like garbage.
Oh, I like that. I have hope for it, I should say.
You can have hope, but it looks bad, and Capcom has any word in it, it's not going to perform up to where the standard should be.
I hope it does, because I really love Marvel vs. Capcom as a series, even like when 3 came out and pissed people off. But I just have hope, man.
It's always really cool to see two franchises button heads together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Capcom's not gonna get along with anybody.
Hey,
At
they
all.
like themselves.
At all. Hey, since Mega Man died, they don't like anybody.
Can we, speaking of Mega Man, can we talk about how we got a new Bubsy game announced before a Mega Man?
I guess we can talk
Really?
about Bubsy.
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't have to talk about it. Just bringing up the fact that, like, while Mega Man's getting ignored, like, a new Bubsy got announced.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happened. We can all just die happy now.
Yeah. So, yeah, good. Not too bad choices,
Oh,
Kevin.
the Horizon DLC's out.
No. It comes out in the winter.
Oh, I just saw it on the PSN store. Uh-oh.
You know what game this game reminds me of? Red Dead Redemption.
Buddy John's playing Horizon Zero Dawn next to me, and he goes, "This reminds me of Red Dead Redemption."
It's a pre-order. You're right.
Because it has robots.
Yeah. So my 5 are just really quick. Assassin's Creed Origins. Somehow I've been pulled. I'm interested back into the Assassin's Creed series. I'm very much interested in the gameplay. It reminded me a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like there's going to be crazy boss battles with like giant snakes, maybe a room full of mummies. Who knows? It really has me interested in where that series is going to go. I'm going to be paying attention to it. Whether I buy it in the end, I just need one more thing to convince me. Then there's God of War Valhalla, which I would refuse to call just God of War.
God of 4.
God of 4, Dad God, I don't know what you want to call it, but not God of War. It looks awesome. The game looks great. It looks it has the great story. There's a kid in there that Kratos treats between shit and awesome. I don't know.
He's just a loving,
Hashtag-
hardworking dad.
Hashtag just Kratos problems.
When your son's a little bitch. Hashtag Kratos problems.
Yeah. So it looks great. It's like in Norway, and you have to battle now the Norwegian. Probably the trio of Yggdrasil will come in at some point. Anyways, moving on. Mario Odyssey. Enough said there. Anthem. I have hype for it. To me it looks cool. I'm not into Destiny. I'm not into Halo, but if Anthem you can play a single player story mode, I'm immediately sold. I'm very worried that it's just going to be another Destiny where it's basically online only, and you just loot shit all day. And if that's the case, then it's not getting bought.
Do you like Diablo by any chance?
I do not.
Okay, that explains it.
Yeah. And the last is Beyond Good and Evil 2. I absolutely adore the first game. I was just happy to see even a CG cutscene that, yes, we are making it. Whether it comes out in the next 10 years, I don't care. The fact that it will come out eventually, that's all I care about.
Maybe.
I will be buying that game.
It maybe comes out soon.
I love the world building. I love the universe. I love the fact that there's a strong female character, and it seems like it's going to be in this game as well. Fantastic. Now, Josh, I have a big question mark on you because you did not get back to me on your top 5.
Hey, okay, guys, listen. I sleep a lot and often, so I
don't
miss a
wanna
lot of conversations. But my top 5 games, to be honest though, before I get into that, is I don't put a lot of hype into games, only because if I hype up a game, it'll usually get ruined. The last time I got really hyped up and hung up over a game was that failure that Ubisoft come out with For Honor. So I mean, I kind of stopped. First of all, I'll probably never buy a Ubisoft game again, and I will never really try to hype up a game, only because I don't want to ruin it. So, but my top 5 hyped games, I guess, would be Metroid Prime, because I love the Metroid series. The only one I hadn't played was Super Metroid, and then once I played that, I was like, oh, hell yeah, Metroid, baby.
I thought you were going to say you've never played Super Metroid, and I was like, go, just leave. That's fine.
We had to do it for a podcast, our first podcast, Back on Space. Hey, go check that one out. Anyways,
Hey.
next one is Super Mario Odyssey. I really, really look forward to that one. Again, I'm not going to hype it up too much because, I mean, hopefully it falls in the spectrum of, like, Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 64, so it'll be really fun, like, to have a game like that again. Monster Hunter. Looking forward to Monster Hunter. I've not really played a lot of the games, but I've watched a lot of friends play the games, and they just all have nothing good to say, have nothing bad to say, sorry. All the good things to say, and it looks really, really cool to just run around hunting monsters. The other one was Xenoblade Chronicles. Really looking forward to that one, only because I'm a huge RPG fan as it is. And then, let's see, that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and Kirby. Kirby, man, I love the Kirby series, man. Kirby was like my jam back on 64.
They're finally bringing back the combinable powers, which I'm so happy.
Actually, I hate to plug it in, but like when I did Kirby's Return to Dreamland or Nightmare in Dreamland or whatever it was for my YouTube channel, that was one of the things I was like, man, I really wish they had the thing where like you can mix the 2 powers, because it was super cool in Kirby's Return to Dreamland for 64, where you just mix 2 powers and you run around with a beam sword and just win.
It's cool.
So yeah, those are my games.
Lit.
It's lit, fam. Fire emoji. Get that 808 horn in here.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about the new Kirby. Even the cardboard Yoshi game looks really fun.
Is it cardboard or is it yarn again?
It's
cardboard.
Isn't it both? Or is he just like
just
really,
cardboard.
really fuzzy?
Well, maybe he's fuzzy in cardboard.
I don't know. It was really cool because Yoshi was definitely 3D, and I don't think it was yarn. I think it was just like a really like fuzzy looking thing. And then like I thought it was really interesting the way they'd said it, because like you could see both sides of the story, and I was like, oh shit, I see what you did here.
Huh.
There's 2 sides of a Yoshi story.
Well, that's just you know.
Yoshi's story. I see what you did.
I didn't even notice I did. I mean, I'm funny.
No, Yoshi looked like a 2.5D kind of game.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, E3 hype. I'm looking forward to everything and what's coming out in the future. I am getting a little tired of the remasters, to be honest, and the remakes and putting out on everything on new consoles so soon.
I'm like half and half on that problem.
There's always exceptions to that rule, but I mean, it just seems to be getting a little bit on the more ridiculous side lately.
I don't mind the remakes and remasters. I just don't release them in episodes, Square Enix. Like, come on, release it all at once. Like, I love Square Enix, but like, come on, man, release it all at once. Don't leave us hanging. I mean, granted, each section they release is going to be 60+ hours, but come on now.
I ain't got time for that.
Well, I think that completes our little E3 system here, and I think we can jump straight into our main theme, which is the missed mascots from the 8 to 16-bit era. You guys ready for this?
Yeah, let's do this. Shit's about to be lit, fam.
Oh my God. I'm losing my mind with you two.
Good. I'm happy we can disappoint you.
I am losing my photosynthesis with you as well.
All right, that's better.
That sounds lit.
Lit like light. Okay.
Toronto man hangs himself. Can't imagine why. Details on 11.
I think I'm just too old to take that anymore. I don't know.
Finds burnt plants on porch.
Well, yeah, that's a true fact. There is a burnt plant on my porch.
Fix it.
Unburn it, come on.
All right, so the theme, this was Kevin. Kevin, this was your pick, correct?
Yes, it was.
And I want to do something a little special because it's definitely a topic that deserves a little bit of at least an extra couple games. And we're going to do something fun at the end of it where we're going to have a small debate on the mascots, more or less becoming the new main selling point of the console. Our first, yeah. Are you excited for that, guys?
I'm very confused on how I'm going to explain one of my guys, but...
Well, maybe you should have picked better games.
I didn't know you were going to throw this at me.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way. You posted that, and I was like, "Oh shit! Oh man!"
This guy could be
Josh. I think you have will have a much easier time than Kevin.
Man, well, we'll see.
So, our first game we're gonna jump into is a game called Mr. Nuts.
Yay.
On the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, and this was Kevin's game.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it was okay.
I don't know if I was getting free reign to speak the whole thing. So Mr. Nuts is a game
Go for it.
as you play as a bushy little squirrel who looks so cute. He looks like Conqueror, except not drunk. And it's a pretty standard platformer where you play as, I assume, Mr. Nuts, going around, platforming through levels, jumping on enemies, just getting to the end of a game. It's not necessarily anything super special, which is why I'm confused why the game is like $80 for Super Nintendo. I cannot figure it out, but it's a good game. It's very forest themed. I think Ocean was trying to... if I remember, this game was made by like two guys at Ocean who didn't get like the okay from their boss until like they were done with it. So I guess that's kind of special, but...
Hey, boss, I've been trying to make this game, and okay, you can release it. Well, good, because it's done.
it's I don't know, nothing about it is like super special. They totally ripped off Piranha Plants from Mario. That was cool.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yeah, no, this game, they really didn't have any shame, but I don't know, I think this game's... It's good, but it doesn't do anything special. So, if you see a cartridge, don't spend $80 on it, but emulate the shit out of it.
Oh,
it is not worth $80,
No,
like not even close.
I remember when it was $40, and I was like, that seems like a little much for a game about nuts.
I wouldn't even spend $40.
Oh, yeah.
To me, personally, I just felt like the game lacked any personality. Like, it didn't really do much. Like, the only sounds I would really hear would, like, he would hit the ground when he would jump. Or, like, he'd shoot his nut all over the place. Hey. Hey. Or, like, when he'd die and get game over. Like, even still, everything just felt so generic. Nothing felt special. Nothing felt iconic.
It was a very hard game.
It was actually surprisingly hard. I just, like, it was weird.
My nuts were hard.
Always.
It was more along the difficult side, unneedingly. Alright, so, you mentioned Ocean before.
Yes.
And it was developed and published by him. For those who don't know, it's a UK British company, and they mostly developed ZX Spectrum games before this. And the Genesis version was actually released in Europe only. That's why here in North America that cart is worth so much. While if you get a European version, it's less than half the price because there's much more of the game out there.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I found that interesting upon the research.
Nintendo tax.
It's got this weird like Disney character style to it, which I kind of enjoyed. I liked the fact that you could collect nuts and throw them at enemies. I did like how most of the enemies were very... I mean, it was very... There was fruit. You know, you're fighting plums and apricots, and you cut them in half with your tail, but there's no sound to you actually doing it. But there was sound when you throw the nuts. It was almost like, sure, the game was finished, but it seemed like there was a lot they didn't finish at the same time. Hence, sometimes enemies would be very unique, such as the porcupine, when you use the tail attack and the shell comes off, so to say, and then it's the porcupine in the diaper.
I did like that.
That was cool.
I like that.
That was cool. I wish more of the game was like that. What we didn't get here in North America to the Genesis version is in the Super Nintendo version, we don't get passwords when the player reaches certain levels. So once you basically have to start everything over.
Save states.
Yeah. So we kind of got the hose on that end. Apparently the boss you're trying to fight is called Mr. Blizzard, who's a Yeti, but you don't really know that unless you look it up. God knows I didn't make it to the end of the game. Yeah.
Get to the end of the level.
Kind of is.
Congratulations.
The Yeti wants to turn the world into a mass of ice using magic. That's what the story is, apparently.
As much sense as a 16-bit platformer ever made.
What did you guys think about the art in the game between the background and the foreground?
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was nice. It was really, really nice. But to me personally, again, it just didn't stand out. It just felt like another generic side-scrolling 2D platformer, and that's all. That's it.
I'm glad you mentioned that. You both saw the same thing I did. Then the background was very nice. It was very detailed, but in the foreground, as you said, Josh, generic. Just nothing was happening. The game did have parallaxing going on, but
the game, like, it controlled very nicely. Don't get me wrong, but like it also moved really, really slowly.
Did you notice that you slide a bit after landing?
Yeah, you slide a bit when you land on a slant or yeah.
I found that quite annoying, especially with the hit detection in the enemies.
Yeah, that or when you start getting chased by bees.
Oh, the bee at the beginning of the game. Yeah, your first real tricky enemy.
The one thing I really didn't like is, and I hate this in any platformer, is when instead of going left to right, the game's just like, nah, I want you to go vertically now. And I think it was the third level where I got to the end of the level and the sign was like, nope, you don't go this way. So then I had to go up and to the left to get to the end of the level. And I thought that was annoying as hell.
Yeah, it's not very intuitive in that sense. I felt the same way.
Yeah.
What the enemy I didn't like the most, and this was where I hit a wall when playing the game, was these big yellow yarn ball things.
Yeah, I hate those.
They just fly out of nowhere from points of the screen, and what it is there's this little ant that just chucks them at you, and because there's so much stuff in the foreground in the way, you can't actually see the ant, so you'll either get hit by a yarn ball just flying from you off screen, or when you turn around and somehow avoid it, the ant will then kill you because you won't be able to see it.
Yeah,
because it's something's in the foreground in front of it blocking.
It's one of those platformers you gotta take your time and go slow with. So I'm happy there wasn't a sprint button because I tend to just hold sprint buttons when I play platformers, and that would have really killed me here.
The other thing I found quite irritating was the fact of the respawning enemies all the time.
That's common,
but they immediately respawn, and there's a whole aspect of this game to explore and find hidden areas of levels. But because those enemies respawn and the hit detection from that slide after jumping, I think really prevents the player from exploring.
No? I can see where you're coming from.
We also got to keep in mind, it's such a really old game, man. You can't really expect too much out of it. It was made by two people. It was just another scrolling platformer that was just like, hey, Mario's doing this really well. Why don't we give it a shot?
10 out of 10.
I know. Yeah. I had an issue with the game. The fact that it was made by two guys, I guess I can give it some leeway, but it's still it's still a game I'm playing on a console, and I expect a certain level of quality. And to me, this just didn't do it.
Well, I'll pick a better one next time.
Yeah,
Jesus, you better.
Oh, come on, Dad. Don't yell at me.
It is my day, son.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It is.
Well, speaking of Josh's day, he's got the next game on the list. And that would be Kid Icarus, right?
Icarus, actually.
Oh, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, it's Kid Icarus. This game was the one reason I was confused for the debate we're gonna have after. And it's kind of a weird debate or thing I'm gonna bring up. But anyways, Kid Icarus was made by R&D1. It was developed by R&D1, published by Nintendo, came out for the NES, and I believe it came out in 1984. I can't remember.
1986.
86, close enough. So
Sure.
So, the game was kind of challenging with the range of your bow being so short to start with, and fuck those eggplant wizards and the Grim Reaper. Honestly, like they can just go die. Now, see, it's kind of hard to debate why this character would be a mist mascot.
Oh, we'll get there in the debate.
Get there. But it was, I don't know. This game was really fun. Just because it was really cool. Like I said earlier about the God of War thing. To see it so based so heavily on Greek mythology, which makes it really hard to believe that this game was not as loved as it was when it first came out, because like people love Greek mythology even back then in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I find it really hard to believe that. And then I don't even remember if they tell you that Pitt's the main character. People would probably just call him Kid or Kid Icarus, or Icarus if you didn't know how to say it.
Yeah,
Icarus,
nah, come on, guys. I was joking. You know that.
Sure.
Yeah, we know.
I make a simple joke, and now you make fun of me.
Story of my life.
You're not allowed to make joke. You make photosynthesis, no joke.
Photosynthesis is when plants get lit.
Hey.
With the sun.
Ah.
Hey.
But no, the game was really cool. It definitely.
You guys gonna bring that kind of gameplay all day?
Yup.
All day. You're mine till then. But yeah, it was actually a really challenging game. It was a lot of fun. I've never really played a Kid Icarus game, not even like the newer ones. It was just, but like, the only time I've
the newer one singular.
Whatever.
There's 3 of them.
But either way, it was just really cool to see like where Pitt came from. Because the only time I've ever played, like the only whatever the fuck it is word
English.
English is tough.
Go on, yeah.
Listen,
right.
okay, anyways. It's cool to see where he's come from, because the only time I've played him was on Super Smash Brothers, so I don't have any context as to who he is as a character, or what his games are like.
Well, see, that's one of the issues, isn't
And
it?
that's one of the things I'm going to bring up at the end.
I liked the difficulty of the game. What I really didn't like was the fact that, because the whole purpose of the levels is to go up at first. You're just down to up, and I believe later in the games it's left to right.
There's dungeons and stuff to do.
There's trials.
There's neat little dungeons, but the whole objective is to collect hearts, and that's your currency essentially.
Well, the whole objective of the game, realistically, is you got to go around to collect 3 items that have been stolen by, I think it was Medusa, and you got to get them back. And then you fight Snake Bitch, and then you win the game. And then Zeus is like, "Good job, little cherub." And then, so I don't think even Palutena was even in this game. I can't remember. And she'd be like, "Thanks for getting." She's like, "Thanks for getting my shit back." And Pitt's like, "Yeah, no problem, B. I got you, fam. Shit was lit, bro."
100 fire emoji.
And like the fingers making like an O, the OK symbol.
The objective of the game was really cool. You collect the hearts, you increase the life to use certain upgrades. I really liked that. It was things like that in the game that I quite enjoy. But good God, it's balls hard.
Oh, yeah. Dude, it was incredibly difficult.
I actually played this on the 3DS version, like the 3D classics.
Uh-huh.
It's also still hard there. I thought they would have made it like more modernized for us filthy casuals. pro tip, if you play that version, don't use the 3D, because they just decided to, like, make the 3D, like, the foreground is, like, towards the back, and then what I thought was the background is up front.
Oh, that's weird.
It was terrible. So playing on that, and, like, it was already hard enough. The farthest I ever got was, like, the first little dungeon, but I couldn't get any better than that. That was it.
For an NES game, it did pretty well to try to get the player moving along.
It's a silver box
Yeah.
game, not even a black
I
box.
quite enjoyed that. I liked how you could move left and right on the level if the level was from bottom to top. You can go across different. You can take different paths on the levels. That was really cool. Oh, and by the way, Palutena is in the game. She is actually your damsel in distress.
Doesn't even look like her.
You're set out to save her and Angel Land.
The one thing that really confused me is that I was picking up all these hammers the whole time I was playing, but I looked it up, but it's like, oh, hit select to use the hammer. I'm like, it doesn't do anything. And the one time I got to the dungeon, I realized, oh, the hammers you can use to, like, smash obstacles and, like, statues.
Yes.
And I was like, finally, once I knew, but, like, it wasn't very clear, and, like, hey, I need this for something. It was just like, you can get hammers for stuff.
No, and that's something where the game manual would come in, where it would tell you a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But in the game itself, you don't really know why you're keeping score, why that matters. That's how you increase your health at the end of a level. You don't really know why these dungeons are even there, other than for more monsters to kill you.
For video game reasons, that's why they're there.
Once you go in a dungeon, you can't go out. The door shuts on you. I mean, you can take that whichever way you want. I personally didn't like it.
Well, I mean, once
I
you
wish
get
there
in
was
there,
some
you
way
gotta-
of farming.
Yeah, once you get in there, you gotta commit. So.
Oh, was that the rule?
Hell yeah!
But yeah, it was hard. At least it had a good continuation system in the game. Like, if you died, it was easy to continue again.
True.
Yeah, the game was really forgiving with that, surprisingly, considering when it fucking came out.
Now, there was a sequel on the Game Boy, and then there was a 21-year gap between the third game. So it was just gone. Kid Icarus was gone after 1991.
Well, Pit didn't get any love until Smash Brothers, and even still, people were like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah, exactly. No, I quite enjoyed the game personally. It's definitely rock hard. I wish there was just some. If there was an element I would like to change in the game, is the fact that you could if you could freely move up and down on the level and not just die by falling off the stage.
Yeah.
Because the jumping, precision jumping in this game was nonsense.
It annoys me that, like, if you fall below, even though you just came off some bricks, and the fact that they're off screen, now you're dead. Even though they
Yeah, that was irritating.
Yeah.
If ice climbers could do it, up until you get to the top, if ice climbers could do it, then Kid Icarus could have done it.
I didn't even think about them when choosing these games.
But yeah, I rather like Kid Icarus. It has its place.
No, Kid Icarus was super fun. It was a lot. It was huge fun.
Huge.
It was hugely fun.
The amount of fun was huge.
It was lit. I'm gonna just annoy the shit until JD quits.
Yeah, you just hear the doo-doo-doo.
That'd be great.
I'll kill you guys.
Do it!
Alright, so the next one is my pick, and the way I picked my games, as a disclaimer, is I went way outside the box on mine.
Yeah, you did. What the fuck, man?
I wanted to really bring some more, maybe a game people haven't heard of that was popular somewhere else.
Oh yeah, it was.
I wanted to even focus on a system that ultimately failed, due to the fact they didn't have mascots, or enough of them, so to say. So my first pick, the third game we're going to talk about here, is Momotaro Katsugeki,
Mo.
which translates to Peach Boy. Born
What?
from a boy, born from a peach.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not about his very shapely bum.
Yeah, and this is actually a PC Engine game.
I couldn't even find this game. So
It's Japan only.
that's what I mean. Like, I couldn't find a game, so I was like, I can't play this. I don't know what the fuck they're saying. Sorry, Moose. Like, these are my
Aw.
notes literally word for word. Not sure how this character could have been classified as a Miss Mascot since the game never released outside of Japan and there was no English. Couldn't get the chance to enjoy it, let alone play it. Sorry, Moose.
Aww.
Objection. There's plenty of mascots that are only in Japan, like those Sony cats that everyone loves so much.
Okay, but we're talking about our Miss Mascots. Otherwise,
No, just
Loopholes.
missed mascots. You didn't
Loopholes.
say our.
I mean, fair enough.
Loopholes.
My bad. I wasn't thinking lit enough. My bad.
All right. So
I just hear the
Yeah.
anger increasing in his voice.
Okay.
all right. So yeah, it's a PC Engine game. It did not come out on the TurboGrafx, but so hear me out. It was made by Hudson Soft, good company, very much in line with NEC and the PC Engine. It came out in 1990. It's a platformer, and it's a lovable, cute little dude that makes quirky faces all the time.
It looks like Goemon.
Kind of. You're on the right track there.
I am.
So, yeah, a little bit. I mean, yeah, the game's not in English, and you have to kind of try to figure out what does what when you're trying to get like little upgrades.
I really had to brush up on my Japanese.
Yeah, right. But honestly, I could play this without knowing any Japanese. So that says something immediately. I was like, okay, so that's to exit the screen. That's to buy the thing. Got it.
That's all you need.
That's all you need, really, in the end. So you're this little dude. He's armed with a sword, and he shoots peaches at his enemies.
As most people do.
Right, as you do. And you collect coins, and that's how you upgrade a sword and the armor. So you can actually take more hits, which will then upgrade your health. And your sword becomes stronger, shoots farther. Really fun. The objective is to help all of his little animal friends around this kooky little map. And you go along different levels, and they're very much... Each level's very unique. It's not just here's your forest stage, here's your volcano stage, here's your ice stage. Now, they are there, but they throw in a lot of like Japanese mythology inside them. So the bosses are very unique to that area, and they look just crazy. Did you guys get to any well, okay, Josh, you didn't play the game, but did you guys get to any bosses?
I didn't get to any bosses. It was a little tough for me.
So just for you guys, right now, I'm gonna take a screenshot and throw it in, and then you can tell the audience what you think of the art and the enemies. There you go.
Uploaded unknown.png. I didn't know he was here. Okay, so this game is just Japan the game. Got it.
I mean, it's got ogres, like with twirling torches. It's got like troll bridges. It's all over the place. It's very cool. The music is very lovable. And Momotaro as a character is actually pretty famous in Japan, and it's sold very well over there.
He is? I've never even...
Yeah.
You know what I do like? The little guy in the end there, the little hula dancer? I like him. He's my new favorite character. And the old man that sells you things reminds you straight out of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it even has that kind of late 80s art style to it. It's really unique. And if this game would have come out over here, which he's not one of my characters I'm going to go into the debate about, because honestly, I think they would have had to change quite a bit for it to sell over here.
Like
but
the language?
as a well, I mean, yeah, you'd have to first put it in English. It's one thing. Would they have had to change a lot of the mythology and behind the game? I think they might have at the time, because let's face it, people weren't very inviting to different cultures as they are now.
Like we are now still.
Well, I mean, more so. We get games like Nioh, where it's just nothing but Japanese stuff.
Well, that's just because we have a bunch of weeaboos running around in the States.
Well, now we do.
This
So yeah, I think it's a very Momotaro is a very fun little platformer, and I actually had a blast with it. I had a friend come over and we played all the games, and he very much enjoyed this game.
See, I didn't play the game. I watched about like half an hour of the game being played, and it did look like a lot of fun.
Yeah, certainly is. Kevin, any thoughts?
It's okay. I get lost when things get too Japanese. If that makes me sound like a flaming racist, I guess, but I can't. I don't know. It's very hard for me to like look into games and like having to translate them and then like just hope I'm doing the thing I need to do. It was okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, it surprises me that Momotaro wasn't. I don't know, at the time in the 90s, was he advertised heavily in Japan? Maybe.
Well, I was there.
But
So.
Oh, right. Yeah, we were all there. If he came over to Europe or the States, North America, would that have perhaps gotten a mascot on the PC Engine other than Bonk?
I think if it would have came out for like the Nintendo, like the NES, then maybe it could have been, but I still don't think so. I think it just would have been another one of those characters that came out for a game and just like, yeah, that was kind of fun.
Well, I mean, it really all depends on the advertising, how you play up a character.
True.
That's what I think. And he's definitely lovable. The game's lovable. It's a fun platformer. It has a lot of variety to it. I just, besides the whole not in English thing, I can't really say much bad about it. I mean, the hit detection was fine. The weapons were fun. In a lot of ways, it reminded me of an Alex Kidd game.
I was gonna say, was this an arcade game?
I don't believe it was. I believe there were other Momotaro games that were arcade, but not this one specifically.
Damn. I kind of like it. It's alright.
But it definitely has that arcade kind of feel to it.
I cry every time.
It just looks so much like the original Goemon arcade game that, like, I just feel like it should be.
Uh-huh, right.
Oh well. Good luck, little guy. I hope you have wonderful future endeavors in the gaming industry. It's too late for you. You suck.
Yeah, I actually got pretty far in it. I got 4 or 5 levels in.
By the way, underwater levels suck. Especially
Any game.
In this one especially, because they ripped it straight out from, like, it almost looks like the Mario Brothers underwater level, except you get, like, to shoot things for once. Without a fire flower. It was cool.
I don't know.
And the music, I imagine,
Peach Boy,
is in
Peach Boy's
3-4.
pretty cool.
The what?
The music, I imagine, wouldn't be in 3/4 time.
No, it would not.
Right. I don't know. They wouldn't have to call it Momotaro. They could have called it Peach Boy or something, because
they would have brought it to
changed Bonk.
They would have brought it to North America and would have called it Mama Mario.
Probably.
Just as a big troll. Oh man.
What's next on our little
Well
list?
then, the next one on the list is Kevin's second game, so we've wrapped
Okay,
around.
this next game was actually like one of the funnest ones.
What the fuck is wrong with him? Wait, which one are you picking? Wait, let me take a hold back.
It's Rystar.
Okay, I thought you
Ristar.
were
The
the
best
other one I
game.
picked.
The other game. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I thought I was like, whoa, no, hold on.
Yeah, it's Rystar or Ristar.
Rystar.
Oh, this
However
game
you-
was
however you
so
wanna pronounce
fun.
it.
I actually played this game for
I
like
love
3
this
hours.
game. This game's so good.
I beat it.
I didn't beat it, but it was really hard.
Yeah, I recommend playing Rystar on the Sonic Genesis collection for like a PS3 or 360, so you can like save.
Yeah, because you can fucking save the
Damn
game.
right, I'm a dirty cheater and I don't care.
No, that's exactly how I played it as well, because the game's expensive in Canada. It's like $60.
I actually went on there was like, I don't know how the hell I found it. There's a website you could play the Genesis version right out the browser.
Really?
Seriously.
Oh.
I don't. I know.
Magic of
All I had to
emulation.
do was I had this program that I used so I could play these games with my controller instead of with the mouse and keyboard if I decide to emulate them. but I had to actually put in a new profile for a Sega controller, and it was super fun. Though the third level, though, that lava level, was hard.
It was stupid hard.
You thought that was hard. Just wait till you get to the last level in the game.
Those vultures, man.
Unforgivable.
I cry every time. But that lava level, though, Kevin, shit was lit. Shit was lit.
It's appropriate here. You can't yell at us. The final... You can't even say
I can just picture JD just like smashing his head off his desk right now.
So,
I'm rubbing my left eye profusely.
I need new co-hosts. The thing I like
I need
about
new
this,
friends.
I like the whole mechanic of like Rystar just smashing his face into everybody.
Oh,
I don't
man,
know why
it was so funny.
Like so amusing. Instead of like a normal punch or like jumping out of a platform, he just headbutts the shit out
He
of everybody.
grabs them. He doesn't just like headbutt him. He like grabs them, stretches his arms even more, and he's like, "Oh, you know it's coming."
Puts his whole face into it. The only thing I had trouble with was like especially in the first boss fight, like when that snake is wrapping around all those like tubes. I never can find the perfect point of when I'm supposed to hit him.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, once you get it, you get it. But like if I put like now that I played this, if I pick it up again, I'm gonna go. I don't remember. And that monkey wizard thing I had to fight was cool.
So who developed and published the game, guys?
Sonic Team.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like a Sonic game.
It's made by them, so
That's what I mean. Like it felt like Sonic, but instead of
Yeah.
Sonic, it was Ristar.
I want a new Rystar. How's that not happen?
I don't think it would be the same.
I like the game, but I don't like Ristar as a character.
Not?
It's just a star with arms and legs. It's so boring.
Do you like Starfy? Starfy,
What the hell's
Okay, I
Starfy?
guess not then.
Do you like Glover?
Oh no.
Which, by the way, a little cheesed about that still.
Cheesed about what?
Man, one of the games I wanted to pick was actually Glover.
And why didn't you pick it?
Yeah, well, that's not 16.
That's
isn't
what
it?
I know, and I didn't have that information at the time.
That's right, I forgot.
Because JD said I wasn't at the last podcast, and then JD was like, "Hey, we're doing Miss Mascots," and I was like, "Oh, dude, I want to pick Glover," and he's like, "But it's got to be 8 and 16-bit." I was like, "Well, I don't know. Now I don't know what."
Now we're not friends anymore. So there.
We'll get to the 32-bit era in time.
It's funny
this could be
because,
a recurring theme for us.
The other thing I was gonna pick too would have been Mischief Makers, but then the whole 8 16-bit thing.
It looks 16-bit. It counts.
Yes.
I don't know. I think Rystar could have been better if it didn't come out so late in Genesis's life, and we would have remembered it more.
Yeah, 1995. I think the Saturn was already out at the time, or it came out like 6 months later or something.
Yeah, the age of this helped it though.
Ristar. I don't know. It could have been a lot more popular if the Genesis had not just collapsed in itself. But even still, like he was outshadowed by like Sonic and Mario, and then eventually just Rayman.
I like Rystar. I wish he would have a comeback.
Rystar was cool, although I can't really see them. Like I don't really want them to make a new game, only because I want them to kind of stay iconic. I guess not iconic, but I wanted the game to kind of stay super fun. The only way I could see him doing it is like making like the world 3D itself and keeping it that same side scroller.
It worked so. Oh, it was a 2.5D. I thought you were gonna go full 3D platformer.
Oh no, not like Super Mario 3D World. Keep it your 2D side scroller, but just up like if you're gonna remake it, just up the graphics. Which is funny that we're talking about this because we were all like, man, we're all coming out with remakes and starting to get a little bland. But here we are talking about a Ristar remake.
Should have happened.
I don't want a remake, just make a sequel.
If they make the remake or a sequel, dude, it'll be lit. Sorry, JD.
Oh.
I know the episode title.
Would you guys say it's Starlit? Here, I'll jump on the
look
wagon.
at you. See,
Hey, jumping on board,
Okay.
my man.
All right. So I didn't hate the game. I do like the gameplay itself. I like the way he attacks and just chucks the enemy around the screen like 600 times.
He headbutts the soul out of them.
I do like the fact that you can find secret little handles that would send Ristar into bonus levels. I do like if you completed a level fast enough, you earned a continue, which saved me so often.
It's a good game.
I do like how the levels are. I do like how the levels are broken up into planets instead of just here's a grass stage, here's a lava stage, here's an ice stage. How the first level of the planet would have a mini boss, and then the second level would have the major boss, and then you move on.
Typical platformer
what I didn't
stuff.
It really does all that well. The game looks absolutely phenomenal with how well the art is done and how you interact with everything and all of the backgrounds and enemies being unique, interacting with each other. It was great in that sense.
Speaking of,
but
not to cut you off, the art. Did you notice all of Ristar's standstills animations? How they're unique to every little environment he's in. I love that stuff.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, if you're in an ice level, he builds a little snowman. If you're in the lava level, he sits down and starts fanning himself. Everything's different.
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't notice that. Then again, I wasn't kind of standing idle to check that out. That's not one of the things that it's just not one of those things that, as a player, I think, hey, I wonder what their idle animations look like.
Oh, I'm shocked they took the time to do this when they want you to play instead, though.
Yeah, that's true.
It was cool, man.
So the gameplay was challenging, at least I thought. The gameplay was challenging to the point where it was rewarding. Like, it wasn't overly hard like a Dark Souls would be when you first play it. Like, it was just rewarding. I think that other than, like, the gameplay itself, I think what stood out to me the most was the music and the sound effects. Oh my god, they were just really neat. Like, everything, like, and the other game you picked, it has a lot of sound effects and stuff too, but, like, this one had a lot to the point where it wasn't overwhelming.
Truth.
I would disagree, because once you get to that second half of the game, it's so unforgiving with how the enemies attack you. I felt the hit detection system was way too unforgiving in that. I mean, just talking about the final boss itself, if I didn't have a freaking save option in that Genesis collection, I would have never been able to beat him in my lifetime.
Well, the whole thing...
It is that terrible.
Well, the whole thing, though, is, like, the whole game's a learning curve. I mean, yeah, it gets a pretty steep learning curve once you hit the third level, but, like, when you get to middle of the game, it should realistically be something that you should already be prepared to deal with.
Not to that extent. The difficulty it rises too much.
Hey, that pun was lit, bro.
The difficult, yeah. Well, the difficult. The difficulty, I think, spikes way too hard, and I couldn't get over why that was even a thing. Because you never get that in, like, a Sonic game or a Mario game. Sure, it has a gradual increase in difficulty, but I never felt it was frustratingly game-breaking, which I felt Ristar did have.
I think they just separated it from Sonic.
For me
Sonic's
personally,
kind of, like, stupid easy, so they're probably like, let's make it a little more challenging. You know?
This was I think this was too much, and maybe that's what the late release and throwing that kind of difficulty in it, I think, throws a lot of people off.
I don't know. I
believe could happen, could be a thing.
You're not wrong. I like it. 10 out of 10.
Because there wasn't even enough. See, your health bar is actually these stars, and no matter what enemy it is, you're getting. There's just not enough stars for how often you get hit. I think it's too hard to avoid.
I can agree with.
Like, if you played the game a certain way and you could somehow get more stars, maybe there is a way, and I never found it. But if you could increase the amount of stars, then that spike in difficulty, I think, would be more forgiving.
I don't think there is a way to increase your health at all, actually.
Yeah, I can't quite confirm that either.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I do like a lot to the game. I do wish that there would be a sequel that would come out.
Or an HD remake. I could live with that. I can do that. Let's do this.
One fun fact that I actually was able to find on it was Yuji Naka, the head of Sonic Team. Mm-hmm. He came out and said Ristar was the original idea put forward during talks for a character, and that would later become
and we
Sonic.
Got a stupid hedgehog?
That's it. I quit gaming forever.
I do. So, what about Ristar and Knuckles? That should have been a game.
Dude, that would have been sick. That would have been lit, dude. Ristar and Knuckles and lit, fam.
You're waiting for me to respond now.
What? Josh got kicked out of the chat. I don't know, his internet must be down. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Fuck it, we'll do it without him. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
So overall, everyone thought Ristar was at least decent.
Yeah, I thought it was decent. Here's another fun fact. I'm reading it now. It's a quote from Sega back in '94. The idea was originally pitched for Ristar to become the successor of Sonic the Hedgehog. However, the game never received enough exposure or sales, mainly due to being released just 3 months prior to the Sega Saturn.
Oh, that's why.
Just like I had said, the Genesis was collapsing in on itself.
Star Fox 2 syndrome.
Aww.
I know, I made you sad.
Aww.
It's alright.
That's very interesting. But we'll definitely get into that during the debate, for sure. I'm looking forward to what someone might have to say about Ristar later.
You surprised this debate thing on me. I have to think of an argument on the spot.
He's got a whole PowerPoint ready just for us. He's like, I didn't want to use this, but it's about to be lit.
Between this, Josh, you weren't going to tell him. I thought, but here you are.
But yeah, we all liked it. Despite my negatives to it, I do enjoy the game. So
you'd recommend it?
I would.
This game was 4 laughing emojis out of 5.
100%.
It does look like an emoji, doesn't it? By today's standards.
100 per hands fire emoji. That is how I'd read this. Holy shit, this is the worst fidget spinner ever. Sorry.
I just like to stick my hand in a fan. That's my fidget spinner.
No, my buddy got me one for his, it was his wedding gift to us. He got us fidget spinners and cubes. And this one's an American flag one, but it's so Chinese, the center has popped out and all 3 ball bearings have popped out now.
Do you guys have 7-Elevens in the States?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I found out yesterday, and I hate to take away from this, and because Kevin brought up a fidget spinner. I went to 7-Eleven the other day to get a slushie because it's starting to get hot as balls out, and they had light up LED fidget spinners that depending how fast you spin them, they would actually do they actually show different letters and a bunch of different shit. So I tried one out. There was a red and white one. It was because it's our 150th Canadian birthday. So
sure was.
So I spin it. Yeah, Canada's 150 years old. So I was spinning it in the store, trying it out, and as it spun, it spelt the word Canada, and I was like, oh, if I didn't hate fidget spinners, I would buy this.
They help my ADD.
I mean, I guess they're beneficial, but to people that actually use them for what? I don't want to get into this. Let's not talk about this.
No, you're right. I mean,
Ristar, the fidget spinner of Sega Genesis games. Got it.
Kind of looks like it anyway.
Yeah, it does.
It definitely looks like an emoji now that you brought it
now
up.
It's now it's 5 laughing emojis out of 5.
We're not getting derailed by fidget spinners. That's just there's so much wrong with that.
Hey man, it doesn't matter how lit they are. We got to move on.
The title of this episode is Lit Fidget Spinners.
And then you gotta type in it's the 808 word.
Fire emoji 100 per hands.
All right, Josh, your next game, please.
We've broken him.
Your next game is Arrow the Acrobat. Please talk about Arrow the Acrobat.
All right,
Arrow the Acrobat.
Arrow the Acrobat, again, it seems like a lot of the games we had picked were just your basic 2D side-scrollers, but the one thing that made this a little different was the fact that you can go way up, and the world wasn't just go left, go right, or just go diagonally. Aero the Acrobat, though, as a game, it didn't really... I mean, it was fun, don't get me wrong, it was really fun. Like, the sounds were really silly, and the enemies were really funny, but I thought the way you controlled the character was really cool, because you got to see all, like, the circus actions, like the dives and the jumps, and you jump through hoops, and you jump through hoops that were also lit, and like the trampolines, and I don't know, man, like the game kind of
lit with fire. You're correct.
Yeah, they were lit with fire. 808 horn sound. But like it was just really cool to see like all these circus things, because like it brought me back to like my childhood of going to like go see these freaks these performers at the circus. So I don't know, it was just. This game didn't really stand out up too much to me. I don't really see Arrow could have possibly been a mascot, only because like it was just another 2D platformer that had its own little gimmick, and that was just about it.
It was part of that mascots with attitude trend of the time.
It got enough to get a sequel.
It got enough to get a sequel and a spin-off. Actually.
Really?
And yeah, I kind of hinted at you me wanting you to pick this one.
Yeah,
because you were having trouble with the mascots.
Well, I mean, yes, and I had to change my game like a few times because they were better suited for different topics, I guess.
Right? Yeah. The Aero the Acrobat was actually developed by Iguana Entertainment. You guys familiar with him? Published by Sunsoft? Yeah, there you go. So we got something on. The red anthropomorphic bat. There we go. I said it. English.
The red photosynthesis
was created by David
bat.
Siller. Are you guys familiar with David Siller?
No.
He is the guy that went on to make Crash Bandicoot.
So is that a spin-off?
No.
I see what you did there.
But if Aero the
Spin-off
Acrobat
Crash Bandicoot.
was more successful, you could argue that we would have never gotten Crash Bandicoot.
I guess that's pretty much a good thing. Because
Aero the Acrobat grew up and became Crash.
He's a whole different species,
but
Josh.
if you notice a lot
Evolution,
of the game if you notice a lot of the game mechanics in this game, you see a lot of inspiration to what became Crash, with the fact that Aero has this like upward spin attack, kooky things he does during the game, like spreads his cape out. The enemies are very unique. It sticks with the theme of the game of the circus, and where the spin-off comes into play is with the plot of the game, as you have to defend and save the circus from an evil clown, but the evil clown has a sidekick called Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel.
I love it.
Oh, that's where you're going at. I get it.
Mr. Nuts took the life of crime.
Which was the game. It was Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel. It was an actual spin-off. It was an actual game that came out.
It's not just Mr. Nuts. There's another squirrel-related platformer that's expensive.
Mr. Nuts takes on a life of crime, and then takes on the new moniker of Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel.
So this is a whole new universe, is what you're telling us.
This summer, featuring David Spade.
No, okay, movie over. I actually played this on, I didn't get to play the Super Nintendo cart. I had the Game Boy Advance port of this. And if you took the screen of this game and magnified it by like 150%, it's impossible to play. Let's just put it that way. It is stupid hard. I wish I played like the Super Nintendo or Genesis port of this, because man, did I not get a good impression.
I actually quite enjoyed this game. And now it's no Ristar, but everything was there to make it good. What I think threw a lot of people off, or at least throws it off, and I was definitely one of them, is what you're supposed to do in the levels.
Yeah, that's where I got to know. I didn't even beat the first level. I was just like, I can't do this.
I had to look it up, and it's actually in the title of the level. It'll say something along the line of like,
hey,
jump on four star platforms.
Hey, dumbass, go to the end of the level.
But it's not that. You have to actually go. You have to explore the level, do the task that the title has given you, such as level 1 is land on the four star platforms. and you land on them, make the platforms disappear, move on, and then a warp at the end of the level will then open to take you to another circus level.
It's almost like it's a stretch, but like they're trying to get you to do a circus task. Like, I know stepping on a platform is not a big deal, but it's like how you get there and the spins he does, like trying to put on a show for the circus audience.
Yeah, it kind of is, and I really liked, the more you think about the game. Now, if you're just a kid and you're playing it, yeah, you're definitely bored. But the more you think about the game, the ideas are there, as you said. It's clear that you're trying to put on a performance for the people, because throughout the levels there's different things to do to get to other platforms, such as jump on this giant trampoline and go through fire hoops, or somehow corkscrew your way up jumping to a tight wire, and you go through that and avoid an enemy on a unicycle on the tight wire. It's all unique things like that in the game that honestly I've never really even seen before. So I was really more or less impressed with the ideas behind the game. It was just maybe the execution was missing that extra little something.
Yeah, I mean, it was like steps away from being really good for me, but it's good.
And it did get a sequel, and the sequel's well over $100.
What the hell?
It is now?
The sequel is over $100 easily, and while this first game's like $10.
I bought the sequel for like $30.
Jesus Christ, people.
Yeah, you'll have to test out the sequel and tell me what you think of it compared to this one.
I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah, right. So, did you guys notice anything with Arrow the Acrobat as a character compared to Crash at all, or any of the gameplay? Because I've been talking up, and it wasn't even my pick. I just was quite surprised with the game.
No, I didn't make a connection there, only because I had no idea. But now that you say it, like, I'm thinking of like the things he does. It's like, yeah, no, I can kind of see it. Yeah, it's definitely inspiration for Crash Bandicoot. Just like I'm sure Mr. Nuts was just a drunk version of, or Conquer is just a drunk version of Mr. Nuts.
It's all related, but I don't know. Acro seemed good, but if I don't know,
it's Arrow.
Whatever. That's how unmemorable he is. It was just standard.
Little Crash.
Little Crash. We'll call him Little Crash.
Bat Crash.
Little Bandy. We'll call him Little Bandy. It was just okay. I don't know. It's not a bad game, but it wouldn't be like the first one I'd tell someone to go play.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting, but it was still just a little boring in my opinion too.
I strangely got into it, but you're right, Kevin. I don't think it's the first game I would recommend to anybody, but it definitely has its place. Whether or not he could have been utilized more for Sunsoft as a company rather than, say, a console, because he was on multiple consoles.
Genesis does.
So who knows? Maybe Sunsoft could have done something with them.
Sunsoft
could have done something more. Fast,
They weren't around very long.
Sunsoft? They still make games, man.
Do they really?
Yeah.
What? My mind just exploded. I thought Sunsoft was done.
No, are you mixing them up with someone else?
Maybe. No.
Lion's Head.
Yeah, well, no. I don't know. I thought Hudson was done. Never mind. Go away. Or not Hudson, Sunsoft.
No, Sunsoft makes like a ton of Neo Geo games, and like all of the library for the Switch right now is all Sunsoft games, pretty much.
Well, never mind.
Yeah. No, they're still around.
Arrow's decent, man.
The decent, yeah, that'd be a good way to put it.
2 100s out of 7.
5 vanilla milkshakes out of 2.
All right, so the next game is actually my second game. So let's see if we can't speed this up a bit. What do you say, guys?
Deal.
Especially with the game after this, we're going to talk about. Anyways, next game I picked was Govelius, which was on the Sega Master System, and just to say outright, it's basically Zelda.
Yeah,
it's the Sega's answer to Zelda, Legend of Zelda.
It exists, all right.
This game actually really, really pissed me off.
Okay, well,
Not
before
to
we
the
go into
level of the
that-
next game, but well, yeah.
So this was Govelius Valley of Doom, released in 1988, developed by Compile and published by Sega. And for those who don't know, Compile is the company that makes the Puyo Puyo games.
Oh, that's who makes them.
On a side note, since you mentioned Puyo Puyo, I was gonna go buy that game the other day, but I couldn't really justify spending like 30 to 50 bucks on a Tetris game, so
It's worth it.
it probably is, but I don't know.
It's really fun. It's a stupid fun multiplayer game.
I want to say I
anyways,
want to try it on with a different friend, like try a friend's copy, but I don't know anybody else that has a Switch, considering Nintendo marketing. But anyways,
so Govelius, you're in this overworld, and its visual style is unique and memorable. At least that's what I think. Immediately, you're this like green-haired anime character, which for the life of me I can't find if that character even has a name.
we'll call her Girl Velius.
Lemming.
Lemming. We'll call him Lemming.
Lemmy Winks.
You know what?
Lemmy.
For the sake of Compile, let's call him Puyo.
Okay.
How about that?
Lit.
So the
Go on.
the premise of the game is to collect 7 crystals. So where have we heard that before?
Every game ever.
And you start out in this overworld. You go through and when you go into dungeons, they actually change. So it's not just the same all the time. There's a side scroller one. There's one that plays like almost like a shooter where the screen's constantly scrolling up, and if the bottom of the screen catches up with you, you get kicked out of the dungeon.
Game's weird, man.
It's very unique.
I had some gripes about this game personally.
Okay, well, go on.
So Govelius was like, I'm sure this game really did a lot for like a lot of Zelda fans. But hold on, what the fuck did I hear? But it's a missed mascot because it had already been done, and I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't really look into it. I'm not sure if it was received all that well, regardless of it being a solid action adventure, exploration game. To be honest, I actually had no idea what I was doing. Because, again, I found a version online that I played through a browser, but it messed up my character, so I had no idea what the character actually looks like. It's like, my character was all, like what Missing No looked like to Pokemon? That's basically what I was playing as. So I bought some power stuff. I bought a Bible. I couldn't quite figure out what to do, but my biggest issue was the fucking overworld. I hated being on the overworld only because, like, if it wasn't coming directly in front of you, like, if you weren't facing the monster directly, you would just be hit. Didn't matter where it was.
Yep.
So that pissed me off a lot because I'd be trying to, like...
No, for some reason, the overworld controls were very finicky. They felt delayed.
Yes, you're right. It's not even that it was finicky. It's just, like... It was almost the same thing like with the Donkey Kong game, or not Donkey Kong, King Kong game we played 2 podcasts ago, where like if you were at a certain part of the screen, like you just all hope was gone.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty brutal on that overworld. To be honest, I got kind of used to it, but I wish the controls were much tighter because when you go into the dungeons and you have to fight there, the controls are very responsive. So I don't know what the deal was on the overworld. Now the game was only released in Japan and Europe. It never came to North America.
That's fine.
Officially.
That's okay. It can kind of just stay over there.
Well, so the
what was
objective
that
of the game.
What was that noise that you made?
That was a lot of lit frustration.
No, you're just like, I'm like that. That doesn't describe anything, JD.
All right, you guys are giving me a hard time here.
Go on. No, this game
in rare form.
This game was good. It's just it was too cloney for me.
Too cloney? See, I didn't. Okay, so it was very. It took a lot from Zelda 1.
Yes.
Such as you go into one of the dungeons. There's an old lady, and she says, "It's dangerous to go alone. Take this."
Yeah, pretty much.
Too cloney.
And then there was most of the dungeons were then in that 2D. They did change them up as you progress through the game, but that was more like Zelda 2.
I think that was the best part of the game, to be honest.
I thought it was cool. There were some frustrating moments that added difficulty to the game, such as if you missed a jump, you had to restart the dungeon. That was irritating. Instead of the enemies killing you. I loved the cartoonish art of the enemies, which was very new. I hadn't seen that. I haven't really seen that before. It reminded me of Momotaro, Peach Boy, from earlier.
I see where you're getting that from.
Really goofy, giant, rubber-looking snakes.
I see exactly where you're getting that from, though. Those little blue spike ball enemies, too. They're directly ripped from, like, almost Mega Man, it looks like. And then the snakes are just straight up snakes from Zelda.
They're ropes. Get it right.
Okay, Nintendo Land. The only thing, like, I'm a big... lately in modern games, I am almost liking Zelda games like less than Zelda clones now, because like people are taking the good aspects of them, like Ocean Horn and stuff like that. Like this is when it was like, now I'm trying to just be Zelda instead of like improving it. It's like I'm just gonna do what they did. So I don't know. It kind of like felt like it was trying to find its own personality, and everybody like, pay no attention to that other series. I am my own thing.
What is a Zelda?
Is that the guy in the green?
I did like how when you did die, the game didn't punish you very much, because all you ended up really doing is going back to this beginning point, but you didn't lose any of your progress. And you even if you want to turn off the game gives you a input code to put in, so you can have all that progress at the point. And all you do is lose a little bit of money. The objective is in order to kind of get your character to level up, you kill enemies, get money, and you'll find either a fairy or an old lady, and she'll give you an item, and that item will then take you to another dungeon so you can use it, or give you an ability to unlock a new area.
I bought a Bible.
Yeah, you do buy books and stuff. It's pretty funny, and what that does is that it increases. That could increase your sword power. That could increase. That could be where you go into another dungeon, and the fairy's like, "Give me a Bible, and I will give you a larger pouch, so you can have more money. So then you can buy more hearts."
Oh, listen, I would take the Bible, but do you take debit?
Yeah, I guess.
I wish there was a little bit more interaction with those characters in the dungeons. It was very one-liner-esque. I did not like how, in order to buy the crystal, you had to buy the crystal. You didn't. What would happen is you would find this dungeon, and an old lady would be like, "Oh, kill this boss, and then I will give you the crystal." But you go and kill the boss. You would usually expect, the boss is holding the crystal of that area, but you go back to the old lady and she goes, "Okay, I am allowed now to sell you the crystal that you need to save the world."
1988 version of DLC.
Yeah, it was like, god damn it, now I gotta farm like $8,000 just to buy the thing to move on to the next area. My biggest gripe for sure is that my second biggest is every time you get into a new world, you're incredibly underpowered.
Well, it didn't matter.
To the point of frustration.
If you didn't get game overed on the overworld anyway, it wouldn't have mattered.
Facts.
But the game actually isn't all that long. You could, I think I beat half the game in like 3 hours.
I couldn't be bothered to get that far.
Yeah. It's, but it's very much, I do like the different environments. The control execution needed a lot of work, especially on that overworld. I couldn't agree more with you guys.
5 out of 7.
Anything else to say over Govelius? Or are we gonna move on to the best game on
It's
the list.
extra okay.
It is.
At least nothing's been terrible yet.
We're about to change that.
Yeah.
I used to have lots of respect for Kevin until he picked this next game.
I picked it on the sole purpose that JD was said, we're going to do 3 games each. I'm like, JD, I barely have time to breathe during the week. I can't do 3 games, or 9 games. It's like, nah, we're going to try. I'm like, I'm picking one to punish you then.
My biggest thing when he told me that was like, man, I don't even know 3 games.
I don't even know 3 games. my whole game collection is Final Fantasy, a piece of string, and my cat.
And maybe Persona. I don't quite know yet. I have a box that says Persona. I'm still looking for the disc.
Well, this next game's Kevin's last one, and yeah, he definitely punished us.
Welcome.
It's called Izzy's Quest for the Olympic Rings.
And I hate you so much for it.
I love you too.
I hate this game. I hate it.
Alright, so a little background information on Izzy, by the way.
Go for it. It's a funny background, actually, too.
I'm going to give you the abridged. Correct me if I get anything wrong, because I'm doing it off memory. Is that Izzy was really pushed to be like the actual mascot for the Olympics in 1996, I believe, or whatever it was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Atlanta Olympics.
Everybody hated the mascot so much that after marketing, they were like, let's just pretend that Izzy never existed. Is that cool?
Why would somebody want a freaking raisin as their Olympic mascot?
Oh, is that what you saw it as?
Well, I mean, no, but he also...
I saw it as a sperm capable of mutating into other things.
I saw him as a piece of chewed-up gum.
I hate this guy so much.
He's so generic looking.
I played this game for 10 minutes, and I hated it immediately.
My emulator kept crashing this game. I tried the Genesis and Super Nintendo versions, and both times after I beat the first level, it just froze.
I'm surprised you beat the first level.
I assume I was going to beat it. It looked like a flashy thing, and then both the Super Nintendo and Genesis went, no.
Who the hell do you think you are?
I hated, like, transforming into, like, a glider and then feeling like whatever the game wanted, it, like, put me back into not being one. I couldn't, like, it didn't know when to, like, let me glide, and then eventually it was like, okay, I'll let you fly to where you need to go now. And I still couldn't decide where I really needed to be. It was just...
No, you honestly had no idea, like, what your actual task was in the game. The only thing cool I can say about the game is the fact that the power-ups had something to do with, like, Olympic events, such as you could change into the character with a baseball bat, or a fencing sword, turned into a rocket because
when is
reasons.
paragliding in the Olympics?
Just go.
Back in the 70s, they used to have a thing.
They clearly ran out of sports to do.
I've got a solid 3 sentences on just this game.
I gotta, before you give them, who designed the Super Nintendo controls to be, I'm gonna speak in PlayStation so it's easier, that, like, where square was, like, one button used, and where circle is another button, and, like, that's not good at all. Why would you not pick, like, square and X, and not square and, like, Y?
Or A and B, or X and
but
Y.
if I speak in the PlayStation shapes, like, everyone knows where I'm thinking, instead of being, like, X, or, like, what system? Hold on 1 second.
Bottom and right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, alright, Josh, you have 3 whole sentences.
God,
what you got?
This is all pure hate. Izzy looks dumb. He moves too fast on a small map, and there's way too many things going on that you couldn't even follow. And the tutorial was so scatterbrained that I was left even more confused than I would have been if I would have just started the game. The music was dumb, the sound effects were all over the place, and Izzy can go die. This game sucked. 10 out of 10 on a bad scale. Would rate on IGN.
That was the best description of anything I've ever heard.
Thank you. I hate this game.
Well, I got some things I can go down the list and say.
1996 stupid haircut.
Gameplay tried very hard to be like Sonic the Hedgehog, but worse, such as you collect rings just like Sonic, but when you get hit, they're all gone. Fuck you.
Yup. This game sucks.
The foreground looks interesting. Too bad the background has nothing.
Hey, there is like a one kind of Olympic-looking building and trees.
Hey, there was...
Yeah, it was the fucking Pantheon in, like, word
There
art.
was a tree
There were 3
in
trees.
ASCII art.
The thing is, I hate is like I know it's supposed to be like going for like the whole like Greek font, but like just the HUD of it is just so ugly.
The game just looks ugly.
Yeah,
You're a raisin trying to run through a pantheon.
you're a raisin sperm piece of gum going through this whole thing.
Yeah.
I think
I had my friend play this, and this was his sentence thought. Enemies, including the main character, is a mystery. I don't really know what the point even is.
Your friend has already beaten the game
Yeah.
in one sentence.
Was there I know they were going for the whole gold, silver, bronze thing too. Was there any value difference in like getting a gold, silver, or bronze medal?
2 points.
Silver's better. It's called being the best at losing.
All right,
If you
ain't to first
I know
place.
everything I need to know now. Thank you.
If you ain't first, you're
Right.
last.
Facts. So fuck Izzy.
Yeah.
The most frustrating part of the game for me was definitely the fact that it wants to be platform focused, but it wants you to jump up to higher platforms that you can't get to unless you hit this specific frame.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes the game would temporarily break and then throw you on the higher platform.
I remember playing this game while I was on TeamSpeak with a few friends, and the entire time just getting frustrated. And friends were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm playing a game from 1995, and it is so god awful."
And they're like, "Why are you doing that?" "Because I hate myself."
Because
Just
Jonathan
just for the
David's T.
audience.
Because David's T.
There's that plug.
just for the audience,
Just for the
I am gonna
fans.
tell you how much this game's worth.
Please be like $2. I will not even pay that much for it.
It is worth 10 Canadian
Which
dollars.
version are you looking
Oh
at?
my god.
The Super Nintendo
That's too
version.
much. Put it down.
I would not even put a loony on that bitch. That's right, Kevin. A loony.
Okay, not my fault. You guys use Monopoly money for currency.
That's a
Do you know how much the
coin.
Genesis version is?
The Genesis is like 7, I bet.
It's 5 Canadian
I wouldn't even,
dollars.
that's a pretty blue one. I wouldn't put that one on there.
Yeah, I do like pretty blue ones.
So yeah, Izzy, we all hate the game. Let's move
Next.
on. Next game is Josh's last one, and it's Dynamite
game
Heady on the Sega
It's
Genesis.
actually sick as fuck.
Yeah. Take it to the vet.
You guys, it was the first game I played on the list, and I texted you guys, just like, guys, I love this
I
game.
told you
I've
love
already
it.
beaten it twice. I've beaten it twice.
It was so cool. And I'm telling you, if you would have let me pick Bob would have super sick too. But
Oh,
we're not
Bob is
gonna-
so good.
dude, right? Anyways, so the game was super fun. Okay, so this game was made in 1995. It was developed by Treasure and produced by Sega. The game was super fun, though with quirky levels, sounds and music, and different power-up heads. It's a damn shame that it didn't become more popular. It didn't stand a chance because Sega didn't have the same longevity that Nintendo had. Plus Rayman and, you know. Oh, and
Right.
Ristar too. So there was a lot of competition for stretchy arm head throwy guys.
That is true. There was a whole lot of that. Really an effective way to take care of things.
Yeah, just headbutt the soul out of people.
It's funny you bring up the developer, Treasure.
Yeah.
Do you know what other games they've made?
No.
Guns.
Maybe a little game called Mischief Makers.
Oh, I knew it
Heroes.
sounded familiar.
Gunstar Heroes.
Gunstar Superheroes.
So Treasure knew what was going on. Treasure
So-
knew what they were doing.
No, Treasure is a very solid company.
Well, I mean, they
it's like 20 people.
hell yeah, you go 20 people. You're making some killer games. I imagine like if they would have actually like if this game would have come out not on the Sega, like if it would just been like just Super Nintendo, it could have been a little bit more popular.
On
But
the
then
Sega.
again, pardon?
On the Sega.
Yeah. But like if it came out on like the Super Nintendo or some shit like that, then it would have been fine, but it still would have had to compete hard with like the likes of Rayman.
Yeah, definitely would have actually.
I don't think Rayman was really his main issue, but anyways, we'll get
Well,
into
it
that
was
in
like-
the
it
debate
was-
on why you're going to convince us
Yeah.
otherwise.
Well, I mean, all I'm going to say is they were like pretty much the same thing. Just Dynamite Heady had power-up heads.
I really enjoyed Dynamite Heady. It's the whole game is almost like you're in a stage play.
Yep, that's exactly it.
And you're against a mustache villain type guy.
There's one boss though. He's a pain in the ass.
Which one? Which one?
The mask one.
Which one, Kevin?
The mask
Josh?
one where you had to flip the head or flip the mask.
Yep.
That was a pain in the ass, and that's the only really tough part of the game.
Yeah, I felt like the game was a little bit too easy, but you really have to, once you get used to knowing, so what Dynamite Heady can do is he gets power-ups that changes his head physically, and that gives him a new ability. And the only way you can actually get health back is actually getting the go to sleep head, so he takes a nap right there on the screen.
Yep.
So it's dumb stuff like that. You're just like, all right.
It's very gimmicky. It reminded me a lot of like the Earthworm Jim. Like it was very like pop culture.
Yes. I was getting a lot of those kind of vibes with gimmicks and comedy, but it doesn't just straight up throw comedy at you. It's
silly. It doesn't throw the comedy at you. It's just a silly game.
Yeah. Kevin, how far did you get in the game?
I dabbled in it. I didn't get too far, but I do like it. But I am playing something on and off with the old lady friend. It's called Puppeteer, and now that I played Dynamite Heady, like the similarities are crazy. Like it's all about it. Like Puppeteer is all about being on a stage play. It's all about getting different little power up heads. It's kind of weird. I was like, I wonder if they looked at it for this.
Dynamite Heady is sick, man. This that was and I almost forgot about this pick too. This was actually one of my original picks.
Yeah, it's really good. I can't speak highly enough for it. It only goes for a max of about $30 too, and that's Canadian.
No.
But that's Canadian, so it's like $20 for you.
Sonic Genesis collection, everybody.
Well, or you could get that. But man, playing this with the Genesis controller was so much fun. Everything felt tight. Everything felt well refined. I don't have anything to say negative about it, honestly.
When I lived with my cousin Jordan, who's the Dirtbag Gaming guy, we used to play this quite often.
So it was good. It was good to go back and play the game
hell
again.
Yeah, it was so fun. The moment I picked this game, I was like, Jordan, what? I'm playing Dynamite Heady again. Okay, but I'm doing it for YouTube. Aha!
Oh man, no. This game's been on my radar, my Genesis radar, for quite some time. And since you picked it for the podcast, I was like, you know what? I'll probably at the very least enjoy the game to an Arrow the Acrobat level where it's like, okay, I'm behind it. And when I went to the store and got it, I immediately went home and played it and beat it in one night.
It's a lot of fun.
I could not put it down. And it had that extra something that I think Ristar was missing. And that was the difficulty spike was gradual.
Yeah. I can agree with that, yeah.
I'm so sad that we didn't get more of this character because he's so funny too.
I don't even think he's been
like
in
all the facial expressions he used. It's such a comical looking character, and what is it, like a robot bee that can change his head out?
He's a chicken.
I can't quite remember, but it just this game was a lot of fun. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Good game. Would rate on IGN.
Like
so much water.
I don't know what it is about Treasure, but every game they put out is just a massive success. At least to me as a gamer.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I can get behind that.
And Dynamite Heady's no exception to that rule at all.
I like it. Get more.
Apparently, it also came out on the Sega Master System, but I can't imagine that game plays very well because the Master System I don't think would be able to handle the level of what everything's happening on the screen.
Yeah, I don't see how it would actually either.
Yeah.
I don't have too much experience with the Master Systems, but I don't see how it would either.
A lot of games that came out, the general rule is if it came out on the Genesis and the Master System, that means it was ported to the Master System, the Genesis version, and therefore it's gonna chug away.
Gotcha.
Borderline unplayable. Best examples of that would be
Altered Beast,
and Golden Axe.
All right, I got you now.
Freaking garbage on the Master System, but so good on the Genesis.
Truth.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dynamite Heady here, and it doesn't really say what he is, other than Heady can throw his head.
Yeah, and that's what makes it funny.
No,
Yeah.
look up gameplay.
Oh, Heady is a puppet.
What?
It's a puppet.
There you go.
Heady
There's
is
your
a
connection,
puppet.
Kevin.
I
There
guess
you go.
it is Puppeteer.
There you go. It's Puppet the
I have
game.
to look at Dynamite Heady on the
Awesome.
Master System real quick. I'm going to give you guys a brief how I feel about it in 1 second. Let's see some gameplay. Oh, you know what? Looks pretty competent, actually.
I don't know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to play it over the Genesis, but
It's like Sonic on the Master System. Why would you do
because I
that?
want the barcode.
They don't have turbo blasting graphics.
Yeah,
Oh, what, Sonic's supposed to have blast processing. What are you doing? All right, so we all love it. The last game we're gonna go over, our 9th one, is my last one. It's another PC Engine game, and it's Parasol Stars, aka the story of Bubble Bobble 3.
Alright, can we just get over the fact that Bubble Bobble's lore makes no sense? Because there's like 3 sequels to Bubble Bobble.
There's 2 sequels.
There's
Thank you.
Bubble Bobble 2, there's Rainbow Islands, and then it's like Parasol Stars this story.
No, isn't Rainbow Islands Bubble Bobble 2?
I had so much trouble trying to find the right one that I really hope I picked the right one.
Did you pick the one with the umbrella?
Well, yeah, I kind of hope so, considering the game's called Parasol Stars.
So
The
the
one-
one because you got the umbrella, not the parasol.
The one I got, it was nothing special and it honestly kind of boring. It reminded me of like the Super Mario Versus mode,
Yep.
and
Okay, you're on the right track.
that was it. The music was bland and boring. The sound effects were dull as well, and
Oh, no.
that's my take on the game. It wasn't bad. It was kind of boring and bland. That's all.
Oh no.
It has special charm.
I'm so sad now.
That's okay. It's okay. I mean, we already.
Well, I guess we can't. I guess not every game can be a winner for people. I mean, especially if you have shit taste. But, anyways, Kevin, what do you have to say about the game?
It was okay. It was.
God damn it! I hate both of you now.
It's like you know how Bubble Bobble's all one screen. I really just felt like they added a scrolling element. Like somebody discovered how to program in a scrolling element to Bubble Bobble. They were like, "Guys, what can I do? We can make a new game. Look at this. It's cool."
Did I pick the right game, by the way?
I mean, I guess it was missing puking rainbows that the second one had.
No, you picked the right game, Josh. It's just this is
Okay, thank God.
This is just I don't know. It's good. I'd play it with somebody. Like I'd pick it up. Big. Hey, you ever heard of Parasol Stars? The story of Bubble Bobble 3? Well, that's because you're probably a sane person. But come play it with me.
Yeah, hell yeah. And that person would be like, "Oh, dude, yeah, that game was lit, fam." And then that's
And then I'd be like, "Get out of my house. You're not supposed to use it." Unironically.
yeah, come on now.
I did like. This is a really small detail, but you know the giant shells where that had the eyes pop out. I felt like that design could have been a Pokemon. Really random thought, but
Yeah,
all
this
I
game, it wasn't a bad game. I just found it a little boring.
So you didn't find it as good as I did then?
Not
All
like
right,
I said,
well,
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's definitely not Izzy's Quest, but
well, that's a good thing.
it's just
that's a
it
very
was a
good
little
thing.
boring.
Yeah. So it was released in 1991 for the PC Engine. As far as I was concerned, it was the third game in the Bubble Bobble series, hence Bubble Bobble 3. Because I only knew Bubble Bobble on the NES, Rainbow Islands, which was on a number of systems, and then there was Bubble Bobble 3. What we have here, Parasol Stars, which was only PC Engine. It was exclusive. So NEC and I think it was Hudson Soft was involved in it. I could be mistaken, but at the very least,
I got Ocean for PC.
So, when it came out in Europe, for a lot of other systems that weren't PC Engine, because PC Engine wasn't really popular in Europe, Ocean developed it. So it was on I believe it was the not the Spectrum, but the Amiga, I want to say. to really get the word out. But this was published and developed by Taito.
Yeah.
If you guys are familiar with them.
I've heard of them once.
No.
Yeah. It takes place with, you're following Bubby and Bobby. That's the human names. And, they're not in their dinosaur form anymore. But yeah, Kevin, you hit the nail on the head with this. The lore of Bubble Bobble is all over the place.
Kind of like the X-Men timeline.
It's almost like the creators like spike themselves with LSD and go, what's the next one gonna be? Well, the sequel. Well, hold on. The first one's about dinosaurs. The sequel, they're gonna puke rainbows and jump on them. The third game is they have umbrellas.
And if sometimes you beat Ganon, you go into one timeline, and if you don't beat Ganon, you go into the other timeline where you're dinosaurs.
This is more confusing than the X-Men timeline.
That doesn't... Comic timelines don't exist, I'm convinced.
Okay, so this one they maintain their human forms. Now they have a umbrella, and the objective is it's basically the first Bubble Bobble game, but now you have to utilize the umbrella in all these different ways, such as you can turn the enemy into like a big raindrop on your umbrella and throw it at it. Yeah, throw it at the enemy to kill him. If there's drops coming down from the ceiling or certain areas of each level, you can collect more than one to create a super attack, which will essentially create like this flood that'll take out all the enemies so you can get extra points. You can use the umbrella as a shield or some type of block device of enemies that hurl things at you. And the boss battles, that's when you finally utilize the umbrella as like some way to slow your descent down to kind of coast over, and you get the weather plays an actual part in the game the more you play it. So it's pretty cool how the difficulty and different mechanics just based off this just simple idea of an umbrella continues through the game.
It's a good game.
I really liked it, and with the lore being so all over the place, they could have made sequels.
They don't even need to follow the lore. They just make a new one.
Exactly. You're just like, this is Bubby and Bobby. He's now in Mario
It's
Land.
a prequel, and they're turtles now.
They are now
Exactly.
They are now geese.
Oh god, no.
So, I really enjoyed the game. I think it has a lot of charm. Like you guys said, I could see people saying that it's just another simple Bubble Bobble type game, that the gimmick's gone now. But for a player like myself, I really enjoyed the kind of childlike aesthetic to it and its charming and colorful style, and how some simple addition to a game can have so many mechanics added to it.
Let's get another one.
I don't think we should.
Yeah, I think there should be. No?
No.
Because they could make like a 2D side-scroll platformer in the universe. There's nothing stopping them from
Well, yeah,
doing
they just
that.
have to play as retroactive ostriches.
Retroactive ostrich. Okay.
So you guys weren't too impressed with this game? It was kind of the same reaction as Era of the
Yeah, it was
Acrobat?
kind of just whatever, yeah.
It's just there.
All right. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I'll come out on a limb now and say it was my second favorite game on the list. That's for sure.
Bold.
Bold. It's my fucking opinion. Fuck you.
Damn,
You're not
just
allowed to have
fired LLC
opinions.
for that business.
You're not allowed to have opinions. You might offend someone.
True.
I'm in like a war with someone over like my opinion, and it's like offending him and hurting him so bad, and I honestly
Was
don't
it that
care.
one guy that was all down trying to like jump down your throat over the scalebound thing?
That's one. I'm in quite a bit different fire things lately, but
808 horns, boy.
it's definitely one of them. So just to go over our 9 games, it's finally come, is Mr. Nuts on the Super Nintendo Genesis, Kid Icarus, Nintendo, Momotaro Katsugeki, or Peach Boy, the PC Engine, Ristar, or as you guys would call it, Rystar on the Genesis, Aero the Acrobat, Super Nintendo and Genesis, Govelius on the Master System, Izzy's Quest for the, don't play it, Dynamite Heady on the Genesis, and Parasol Stars on the PC Engine again. Kevin, what was your favorite game on the list? Why?
Right. I don't know. It had a very Sonic-like charm. The controls are good. The animations are good. It just felt like there was a lot of care and love put into the game. I don't know. It's got some. It's got some
behind
charm.
that. Josh?
I have a toss-up between Dynamite Heady and Ristar. Both basically the same game. Throw your headbutt the soul out of people. Just really fun. Really had just really fun, unique elements about it, and it just stood out amongst the other games.
Okay.
JD, how about you?
Yeah, mine is Dynamite Heady, and it's honestly not even close.
That's another point for me, baby.
Yeah,
I didn't realize this was a
Josh,
contest.
you knocked it out of the park with that pick.
What?
You knocked it out of the park with that pick. Yeah, I liked the fact that Heady. It was a kooky little story part of the game where it's basically a stage play. I loved all the power ups. It kept the game fresh from start to finish. Like I said, I've already beaten it twice, and I've had multiple friends come over and play this game because I'm so excited about it. I'm very happy to have the game in my
Let's
collection.
play on Musenspiel?
Ooh.
There was definitely a video made.
Can't wait.
Yeah. I didn't play it, but a friend did, and I was just like gushing over the game the whole time.
And I'm honestly so surprised that game isn't bigger than what it is. But then again, the whole lifeline of the Sega, so it's kind of tragic.
Honestly, I loved this theme so much. The friend that I had come over, we re-recorded at least one video for every one of these games.
So there's an Izzy video.
So it's kind of like there is an Izzy
Man,
video.
that is 9 more episodes than Power Chord's come out with lately.
You're streaming, it counts.
I guess, yeah.
So now, what I spurred on you guys as a little game to finish out the podcast is...
What do you think,
Kevin,
we are gamers?
Your job is to now convince us that Ristar and Mr. Nuts are the next big mascots. And since they were on... Ristar was Genesis, and Mr. Nuts, let's say you can choose between the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. Why are they going to be the next big mascots? And since they're on those systems, who are they going to replace? Convince me and Josh otherwise.
Between Ristar and Mr. Nuts, I don't get to pick Izzy?
No, you have to do it. You have to do them both. Izzy isn't even part of that conversation.
Right.
Hey, he can replace those raisin dudes.
So Ristar, if it's gonna replace anybody, it should replace Sonic. All Sonic does is just be a stupid little hedgehog. The game plays itself. You run to the right, you jump when you gotta jump. You can barely touch the controller. Ristar takes skill. It takes the courage to man up and go, I'm gonna headbutt somebody in the face with my whole body weight. Ristar is everything Sonic wants to be. Sonic runs from his problems. Ristar takes them head on.
Sometimes being faster than the speed of light always leaves you in the darkness.
Exactly. He gets it. So Sonic, out the window. Ristar where it's at. Now, who's the other guy I gotta take care of? Mr. Nuts.
Mr. Nuts.
I was gonna say Conquer, but I guess he doesn't really count, huh?
I don't even think he'd be out
No,
yet.
he wasn't. He didn't exist yet.
I say Mr. Nuts should take place of Yoshi. Yoshi's a stupid dinosaur dragon thing. All he's good is for being sacrificed for Mario to jump off his back. Nay, Mr. Nuts has the nuts to take problems on himself. He's not just somebody's sidekick. Mr. Nuts is here to bury his wood into enemies and take... I was going somewhere with that, but I lost it.
Shoot his nut.
Oh no.
I don't know. Mr. Nuts just has more charm than any Yoshi game has ever brought me in my life. I know you said it had no personality. It's got more personality than Yoshi or Yoshi's Cookie.
Okay.
I say lose one animal, replace it with some nuts.
Okay. Honestly, Kevin, you've convinced me of Mr. Nuts is better than Yoshi.
To Mr. Nintendo
Good job.
tomorrow.
You've convinced
Now-
me Ristar, but I'm still hung up on Mr. Nuts.
You could be wrong. That's fine.
It's okay.
See, I would have said something along the line of Ristar didn't have to replace anybody. He could have been
You didn't
Sega's
tell me
second
you
mascot.
could do that. You said I had to replace.
I would like to literally word for word convince us that Ristar and Mr. Nuts are the next big mascots, and who will they quote replace? Quote.
Sure. No, I mean it's fine. He could have taken it a step further. He didn't have to be within the lines. But yeah, good
I've
job,
always
Kevin.
been thrown through the goddamn loophole.
I quite enjoyed it. Look, don't take it so literal, but I quite enjoyed it. Ristar could be the next. I could totally, based on what he said, and based on what we even read from Sega, that Ristar could have been the next, because there was no Sonic on the Saturn. Could Ristar have been the next mascot to continue for Sega? Absolutely. And I think Kevin made that clear.
Ristar's lit.
Oh. Just throws it in at the end to hurt me. Okay. Good job, Kevin. Now, Josh. Convince us Kid Icarus and Dynamite Heady are the next big thing.
Now, gentlemen, you're probably wondering why I gathered you all here today. I have two products, and they will change the gaming industry forever. We have this young man named Kid Icarus. He's going to be the next big Mario. How, you may ask? Well, this little guy, he doesn't shoot fireballs. He has a bow to start with. Then he gets a bow that shoots lights arrows. What's up, Link? Then he gets his Pegasus shoes. He gets to fly all around that bitch. He don't need to jump block to block. He can fly wherever he wants. Now, you get to go into dungeons. You get to fight with Zeus. You get to kill Medusa. Who likes Medusa? Nobody likes Medusa.
I like Medusa.
Kid Icarus will be a mascot in like 30 years. But anyway, in all seriousness, no. Kid Icarus, I don't think would have been a mascot. It's kind of hard to have Kid Icarus or Pit be a mascot, only because he only had the one game, and it didn't really stand out among other kind of like action adventure platformers of that time. And the only reason I say he wouldn't have been at that time is because now he's a Nintendo mascot only because Super Smash Bros. Made him so popular.
True.
Anyways.
They still have only made the one game in the past
Exactly.
20 years.
And it's not good.
Well, I mean...
The controls were really rough.
Now, gentlemen, the main reason you're all here today is for my man, Dynamite Heady. Okay?
Right.
He's got Rayman as competition, but can Rayman give himself a hammerhead? Can Rayman give himself a bomb head? I don't think so. Yeah, you can only use the bomb head effectively once, or you lose a life. That don't matter. Does Rayman have it? Gentlemen, does Rayman have a hammerhead?
Rayman's not a domestic terrorist like you're describing Dynamite Heady.
There you go. And that doesn't matter what kind of terrorist he is. He terrorizes in the name of good for the show. The show will go on, gentlemen, and that is in the name of Dynamite Heady. Thank you.
You got me on Heady. Icarus, you kind of broke your own argument.
I know. Kid Icarus was tough. Who likes...
I don't know, man.
Who likes Medusa? Nobody likes Medusa.
I don't know, because the NES didn't really have a lot of mascots. I mean, there was Castlevania, there was
Mario.
Mega Man, there was Mario,
Zelda.
and there was the one Zelda game, which, made great. It was a good game. Why not Kid Icarus? He was kind of in his own category.
It was, but I mean, it kind of just...
If a game came out on the Super Nintendo, couldn't he not have been a mascot?
I mean, I guess, but it all comes down to when he was released, man. Like, I don't know.
He was one of the first.
Well, you're right. He's only one of 3 gray boxes, but I don't know. It just, compared to like the other games, Pit never really stood out as a character. Not to me, anyway. This is all personal opinion. I don't care what the internet thinks. Come at me, bro. Tweet at me. Power Chord Show.
Chubby Cherub, though, was a better mascot than Kid Icarus. Come on. You know who Chubby Cherub is, right, JD? It's
Moving on.
I just want to say, gentlemen, Dynamite Heady was lit.
After he explodes with dynamite.
The bomb head.
Bombhead was awesome. I loved it. I first get it. Just
Bombhead was lit. It was lit. Okay, JD,
So
your turn.
Yeah. So my picks, like I said before, mine were a bit different since I picked basically consoles that didn't even really have mascots. So I gotta convince you guys, Govelius and Parasol Stars are the next big mascots for their systems.
Well, they don't really have much competition, to be fair, so this is a little unfair.
Yeah, this one's a little. This is unfair.
Well, this is kind of, yeah, well, this is also trying to give you a good mascot to save the system going forward and perhaps build a franchise
and these two are definitely not it.
Well, I mean, it could have done Peach Boys, but no.
Carry on.
So Sega has to compete with Nintendo on the Master System. And what do? They create basically a Zelda clone, but put some spins on it. Govelius, make that main character into something you should care about. Come out with a sequel.
Or a name.
Make the.
They don't even have a name for the guy.
Girl.
Yeah, give me a name. Give me a little backstory on the character. You know, the sequel is where it's at. We saw Link to the Past come out on the Super Nintendo. Genesis comes out, missing that RPG to really take gamers away from the Super Nintendo. Govelius is the answer.
Take away the Temple of Time.
You got this green-haired kid. He's got to kill just wacky, crazy creatures. You know, go get him. Make that story something. You guys at Sega are more than capable of it. We've made Govelius a major mascot on the Master System. Let's continue this into the Genesis era. Did I somewhat
Absolutely
convince
not.
you guys?
So it looks like a Zelda clone.
Yeah, sorry, man.
So what?
It's not your
right.
description. It's the fact that I really that game is literally just, I want to be Link so bad that, like, I just poo-poo him off. It's not you. It's me.
It's not you, it's me.
For the Genesis standpoint, I mean, I guess, but it's tough because, this game has to compete with Sonic, right?
No. Link doesn't compete with Mario. He's his own thing.
I guess.
It's true.
You guys aren't looking at the big picture.
I am looking at the big picture, but my opinions have been wrong.
Sega only had the one main mascot that they advertised. I believe Govelius is the answer to the RPG mascot
That's
side.
true. I mean, they also had Phantasy Star.
They did have Phantasy Star.
That was a group of people because Nintendo had Final Fantasy, and they competed just fine against each other.
Had Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
What? You're really nitpicking.
Yeah,
splitting hairs.
Square was specifically on the Nintendo, not Sega.
All
there,
right.
how about that? Did I do that for you? Did that do anything for you? That do anything for your?
Was it as good?
Was
as good for you as it was for me?
It was.
All right. The last one I want to talk about is Parasol Stars.
Yeah, please. I want to see this.
Bubby, dude. You got Bubby and Bobby. We've seen them on the Nintendo. We've seen them. We've seen even Rainbow Stars come on the Super Nintendo. Now we got the third game. Bubby and Bobby are your next big mascots. The PC Engine is in a tight spot here. We need to worldwide. We need more mascots than just Bonk. And who's next? A dynamic duo, couch co-op type play. You can, and with the lore of the universe, you can make any game you want. What's popular right now? 2D side scrollers. You guys we've proven that we are capable of having mechanics built onto such simple aspects such as an umbrella. We can take that to the next level in any game after this. Whatever you want. You want to make an RPG, Bubby and Bobby? Let's do it. Bubby's been taken. He's going to be eaten by a minotaur or whatever. Let's throw in some mythology in there. Bobby's got to save his brother. I think they're brothers. Who cares?
I like it. I'm into this.
The PC Engine will be saved with more mascots. These two are going to join Bonk and Zonk in on this. Let's do it. Let's do it, NEC.
I have one thing that would make... first of all, you convinced me. Let me say that. Number two...
Before you do that, JD?
Oh, no.
JD?
What's up?
No.
That's all, my friend. You did it. You did
Did
it.
it? All right.
The
So happy.
only weird thing I wish that like one of these games incorporated that would have like done it all over is if you can go back and forth between the dinosaur forms.
Well, I mean, see, that could be another game in itself.
It could, and then if they did that, oof.
You could switch between abilities of switching between a dinosaur, crapping rainbows, and having an umbrella.
This
Crapping
holiday
rainbows
season.
needs to be a thing in every game.
This holiday season. Dinosaur or boy. Bubby and Bobby are back in a much anticipated sequel. Parasol Stars. The fight for Dino Island.
Yeah, I mean, Parasol Stars was, NEC PC Engine had Parasol Stars as an exclusive on the PC Engine. Let's keep that exclusivity. It will help sell this console and keep us afloat.
At least that's the main hope.
Yeah. Well, we're also assuming that the people at these with Sega and NEC aren't gonna we're assuming they're not gonna just toast everything down the toilet like they did in history.
Usually do, yeah.
Yeah.
Word.
But who knows?
So we're all 1 for 1.
Yeah,
Or we're 1 of 2.
we all got we all got 1 of 2 at least, at the very least. That's good. I thought that was just a nice little simple idea to throw out there.
Well, it was a great game. It was a good game.
It was a good game.
Beautiful, huge.
It was lit.
Well, as lit as this podcast has
He
been,
said
it has to come to an end. We're at that point. We're slowly approaching episode 10 here. We're two episodes away, 2 podcasts away, and that's when we're gonna start getting guests. Ooh. And we have some lined up, and there's whichever one comes first, we have their topics to pick, but our next one is number 9. We haven't picked a theme yet. Josh, I believe it's your turn.
Oh, baby, it will be.
Oh, baby, a triple.
And hopefully we can get it done in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Keep coming out with our bi-monthly, or at least once a month format that we're going for. I hope everyone really enjoyed today's podcast. I had a lot of fun doing it. If you guys have some hype games over E3, you can find us on Twitter at BowlingGD. You can find Josh at PowerChord Gaming, Kevin at ConsoleKev. Go to all our respected YouTube channels and VidMe of the same name. Mine's Musenspiel.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Josh PowerChord.
Thanks.
Naturally. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, on Musenspiel, VidMe, and YouTube page. Just hit us up. We want to hear your E3 impressions. We want to hear what games you're hyped for. If you have some 8 to 16-bit Miss Mascots that you want to tell us about, maybe we'll bring it up in the next episode. Word. So just hit us up. We want more feedback from you guys. If you have any questions, just let us know. It can be anything. And let's have what games music would you like to have us taken out?
Let's go to Bob.
How about one that we actually caught?
Oh, fine. Izzy's Quest for the Wings. Izzy's Quest. Yeah. Called it.
I say Izzy's Quest.
For you guys.
For irony's sake.
Shit's lit.